No, I know that. I'm looking to see where he races. Oh, he races in RECS. Because I was gonna say if he races in Mellicar, I wouldn't be surprised because we keep in our team speak keep getting the Mellicar drivers whispering the entire team speak. It's like, why are you doing that? I'm one of them. All right, official time to take print screens. Okay. All right, it's back up and running. Okay.
All right, welcome everybody to the 20th anniversary special event here presented by the ISRL. Oh boy, do we have a big one for you. It is a full-length Daytona 500, Daytona International Speedway, 200 laps. What else is there to say? It is a full-length race in celebration of 20 years to the day that this simulator has come out. And I've been excited for this one. Already, man, chat's lighting up there. Great to see all you guys here. Great to also have a familiar face here in the chat, or excuse me, in the booth with me. Seth Cole, my man. It is so good to have you here.
It's great to be here, and I'll tell you what. Again, just to reiterate what you said, what a way to kind of ring in this 20th anniversary of the NR2003 season simulator. It's been a simulator that stood the test of time. It's constantly getting reformatted, re-updated with the current cars we see today in NASCAR. It's really something that a lot of people have either stayed with or have just gotten into and they're hooked. It's something that if you are a NASCAR fan, you can't seem to get away from. I know iRacing has become a big thing, but Enter 2003 has held its own as well. And here today, these drivers are in for a tall task. I mean, 200 laps at Daytona. I took part in a full-length Daytona 500 race back in 2015. I haven't done one since. That's because these things are so grueling. You are constantly thinking. These things are physically exhausting. And these drivers, they're going to have to really keep their wits about them every single lap, every single turn, because it's a super speedway. Daytona, Talladega, doesn't matter. If it's a super speedway, one mistake, your race could be over.
Yeah, true that. I mean, it is moderate damage, but these guys, just to also put credit to how much skill this is going to take, hardcore mode is enabled to the point that they are not going to be able to drive with any kind of assists. So that's just going to ramp up the difficulty factor, slightly different conditions for this race. They have it set they have the weather set cold and cloudy, so the cars will drive a little differently. Of course, it is CTS physics, so definitely going to be a lot of draft and a lot of suck up and pushing. Um, but yeah, it's like you said, for this many laps, 200. I gotta think that we're just gonna be. I'm hoping that we see these guys try to run it out as best they can and have as many cars running at the finish before they get to um, the big ones. So this is going to be awesome. Thank you to Greg Irwin for having me take part in this as the broadcaster. Of course, Greg Irwin, the head admin of ISRL, the main guy putting this on. Great to see everyone in chat. Allie, Trinity, good to see you, man. I think it's Josh Williamson. Jojo Network, always great to see you here. Go subscribe to them. Ben, shout out also to some other folks there in chat, rooting for some respective drivers. And yeah, I wish I could say that the roller coaster is what inspired my YouTube name. No, it was just the drag racing class. So there's that backstory.
Well, they might have tuned in for a roller coaster race. Who knows?
This is who knows you. The only other thing I'm just really worthy of note, this is 1X, so they will be running a realistic fuel window, which will probably end up being about 40-ish laps, maybe slightly less, with the CTS physics. But yeah, I don't know what to expect. I've never been anywhere near a race of this length. The closest I've ever come, Seth, is whenever you would run Talladega, and that's only half of this. So this is going to be just a whole different beast.
Well, I think the very beginning of the race, everybody's adrenaline's going to be at an all-time high. It's going to be obviously a double wide start. So, with it being CTS physics, as you mentioned, as opposed to cut physics, runs are able to be generated a lot quicker, and drivers are going to want to take those runs to try and make it 3 wide. We may see a third lane early, but I feel that these guys have to remember that you can't win this race on lap 1, but you can definitely lose it on lap 1. They've got to kind of rein back that adrenaline at the initial start and realize that there's a long way to go. You mentioned it. I think the fuel window for these guys is going to be roughly in the 36 to 38 lap range with the CTS fall off. So we're looking somewhere in the range of about 6 pit stops minimum they're going to have to make here today. I think you've got to have yourself prepared maybe for that first round of green flag pit stops. Try to get to that point, wait till the field gets spread out, and then start making the aggressive moves. We'll see if those drivers take that advice because, it's the Daytona 500. Everybody wants to win it, and sometimes you let that get into the back of your mind, and you see that gap, you see that opening, you've got that momentum, and you want to stick your car in there, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
True that. I'm gonna quickly go down the entry list for this race. I'm not gonna worry about the starting order quite as much because, for a race this long, super speedway, I don't think that's quite as important. I will say Tyler Mallon did get the pole position, 47.182 ahead of Kelly Causey in the 000. Among the other drivers tonight, we've got Bren Ware in the number 0, Greg Irwin driving number 3, Tate Dorsey, car number 4, Jeff Perchask, I hope I pronounced that correctly, in the number 5. Tyler Stallhood in the number 7. Shout out to him as well. Joshua Mercurio, driver number 9. Hashi Burko in car number 9. Car number 12, excuse me. Fabia McKay in car 15. Tyler Mallon on pole. Aaron Hall in car 20. James Hodge, 22. 23, Thomas Philbrick. Samuel Cruz, 24. Ken Squires, 25. Ryan Palmer, 26. Ethan Collier, 31. Mike Carroll, 35. Daniel Rivera, 45. Zachary Bilson, 47. And then you got car number 80, Rose Henson. Keith Hughes in the 82. Also a familiar face out here, Joshua Clements, 84. Joseph Landy Pavlon in the number 86. Derek Schauer, 88. Ryan Adema, number 92. Cade Welty, 97. Tristan Grace, 98. We mentioned Kelly Causey in 000. Apollo Hyde, car 100. Sean Whitehill, 196. 283 of Blake Warren, 407. Cornby Edwards. And then Steve Rada rounding out the full entry list in the number 503. Seth, it's go time.
It's go time, and yeah, we're just bringing you the race. There was a lot of stuff that took place this past week with drivers qualifying their way in, whether it was during a qualifying session, like a pole day qualifying session. There were duels to qualify your win. There was an LCQ, and then 3 drivers ended up getting in via an admin pro vote, a fan vote, and an admin vote. There were going to be 36 drivers that were going to start here tonight. Looks like 34 are actually going to take the green. 2 drivers getting in due to some of the drivers that qualified in not being able to make the start. Canby Edward in the 407 and Joshua Mercurio in the 9. But one driver I was looking at here that I thought was kind of a feel-good story mentioned the fact that a driver got in via the fan vote. That was the 45 of Daniel Rivera. And look where he's starting, up there on the inside of row number 2 in that DeWalt Toyota Camry. So really good opportunity for him here tonight to be able to try and see if he can kind of with what the fans were able to do to get him in, maybe kind of reward them by putting that Toyota in victory lane.
Just be told on that one. Shout out to Rodney Sullins there in the chat. Good luck, drivers and commentators. Thank you. I think all of us are going to need it.
You got a caffeinated beverage, Andrew?
You got a couple. Should have.
Do you have a few?
I have water, and I probably should have gone a little more than that.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, I don't think it'll keep you hydrated. It might not keep you awake.
Well, I mean, hey, if it comes to it, I've got an emergency supply I can go and get.
There you go.
It is showtime here. The ISRL 20th anniversary special event for NR 2003. Happy birthday, NR! We love you. We're racing.
Could be interesting to see here in the early going which line is the preferred line. You see Malin jump down there in front of Kelly Causey. Looks like that inside line, at least for the moment, preferred. But as more drivers migrate to that inside line, you're going to start to have that checkup going into the corners, and you'll start to see that second group surge forward. But it'll be interesting to see just how much power that outside line is going to have.
Yeah, true. It's going to be a matter of just who gets the best pushers. As you and I, Seth, know from racing, whichever line gets the most well-formed is going to be the line that's going to go. With a version like this, I imagine the outside's going to have to form up a little more effectively in order to try to make that work, because the inside lane isn't quite as slippery as it might be on other versions of this particular track, or Talladega for that matter. So there's going to be a lot of the pushing strategy in mind there. But like you said, I mean, we're in lap 2 of 200. So I can't imagine you're going to see much aggression at this point in the running, as I'm looking to see how well they're pushing up there with Greg Irwin leading that outside lane. That's Clements behind him in the 84. Some great paint schemes out here as well.
Oh, beautiful paint schemes, and a lot of different manufacturers as well. You and I were commenting before we came on the air about the fact that I think there's more manufacturers in this race than we've seen in a long time. We've got your usual Chevys and Toyotas and Fords. We've got a couple Dodges in the field, but then you also add to that mix, we've got quite a number of Honda Accords. We've got some Subarus in the field here, and I think we saw a Lexus or two as well.
There was a Lexus and a Volkswagen, which I think I saw him up there somewhere. Oh, Tyler's dropping back. Look at this.
Might be by design. Felt what his car was like out in front, now kind of going back, feeling that he doesn't necessarily want to have the carnage around him. Maybe drop back. I'm almost wondering, too, if he might be dropping back for the 23 of Thomas Philbrick. I noticed that Philbrick's actually out of the race already. I was noticing that the 23 was having some tremendous warp problems through the tri-oval. I thought he dropped back just to be able to get out of the way and not cause any warp problems, but it looks like he's actually brought that car to the garage. So that is a tough break there for Thomas Philbrick, who I had as one of maybe the guys to watch in this one.
Wow, I am surprised at that, as we're already going 3 wide up here. Joshua Hodge, I believe Joshua, just tried to jump up to the outside lane, and Greg Irwin said, "No, sir." And now we've already got Honda. 3 wide here. Oh, door bang! A little early for that, boys.
Ooh, fortunately, Greg gonna let James in there.
James Hodge, excuse me.
That was a little bit testy there. Almost our first caution off of turn 4. That was the 20 of Aaron Hall that Hodge made contact with.
That got the adrenaline pumping a little bit.
Allen came to pit road, actually, I believe. Something's amiss on that 18. I'll double check on that. Also, the 48 of Daniel Rivera was talking about the start. He missed the start, came off pit lane after they completed the first lap, and he is currently -1. Yeah, Mallon came down, made a 4-tire stop, and returned back to the track. He's also a lap down in the 18.
Wow, so already some early trouble. I have to imagine that may have been something, I guess you could say, quote unquote, mechanical, maybe on the setup end, or something going on with the wheel, or anything of that nature. That could always be possible. And someone else dropping. Someone else just dropped down to the inside there. Oh, goodness, he just came up the track. That was Rada.
And Tyler Stallhood's around.
He just slammed, yeah, and
I think
this
we've got a
Sean Whitehill.
caution. Do we have a yellow? I'm seeing some cars slow here. No, we're still green. Sean Whitehill, Steve Rada, and Tyler Stallhood all had something happen over there in 1 and 2.
That'll be the caution. We got a spin in 3 and 4.
Oh, big hits.
Oh,
Got one up and over. Oh, that's the
Ware.
ARCA race winner from last night, Bren Ware.
Number 026. Ryan Palmer spinning. Also got the 98 involved, and yeah, we've got some early trouble already in this one. Thankfully, it is moderate damage, but lap 6, and the first caution comes out with Kelly Causey as the race leader.
And 2 incidents, same lap, but on different ends of the racetrack. The first one didn't bring out the caution. The second one did.
We'll have a look at that first incident here that did not cause the yellow, because I'm curious to see what happened to Rada.
You know, you were talking about, like, mechanical issues. This has the look of a mechanical issue.
Let's have a look here. So he is one of the last cars on the main bottom line here.
Wow.
Going high speed.
Something came unplugged or game minimized or something happened there, because
yeah, no
car
doubt.
just doesn't turn to the left like that.
No. And a pretty good hit there for him. I think that Rada and Stallhood might actually not be in too bad a shape. Then I think we went 3 wide, or just about. And yeah, the initial contact was between the 100 of Aaron Hall, and I didn't quite make out who that was. That may have been the 0 of Bren Ware. And then what sent him flipping was a hit from Zachary Bilson.
26 of Ryan Palmer was the one that got the 100 in the left rear.
And then that's what triggered that, and this track is a little grippier, so that has caused, that's what caused some of those flips.
Now, I will say, in defense of the 26 of Palmer, the 407 of Edward had actually had a bit of a moment and slipped up the racetrack there going into 3, had to bail out of the throttle a bit to gather it up, and the 100, he was of height, he was actually slowing to react to that. The 26, being the third car in line, did not know there was going to be that checkup, and that's why the contact was made.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's how quickly it can happen. There's some lucky escapes in that one, and I think aside from the 0 who went flipping, I didn't see anything too terribly significant as far as hits go. So hopefully these guys will still be okay to keep it going without it affecting the rest of their night.
24 of Samuel Cruz, really narrowly avoided. I'm a little worried about the 47 of Zachary Bilson. We saw Bren Ware go up and over. It was a T-bone shot courtesy of the 47 Toyota. And one thing that you want to avoid, actually, I'm sorry, that's a Honda is the 47, but one thing you want to avoid, especially whether it's early on or late in a race, is having damage to the front end, because more often than not, with that being where the engine is housed, you come down pit road, they may end up shutting off that engine for a moment or two, and that means you're going to be down on speed, down on RPMs, and down on the ability to stay in the draft. And got about a half dozen drivers on my list right now that I'm a little bit worried for. Sean Whitehill, Tyler Stallhood, they had pretty good hits with the front end, and of course as well that 47.
Yeah, that's and for that matter, probably the 503 with that hit coming off of the just coming off of the turn 1 there.
Like all the drivers involved, some of them have come to pit road here under pacing, but nobody has taken themselves out of the race. Philbrick's the only one back in the garage area, and it looks like double check here on the 503 of Steve Rada because he actually might be out of the race.
That was a bizarre incident there. That, yeah, I think, like you said, had something probably a little more serious that would have caused that.
Yeah, Rada is out of the race, actually. My telemetry doesn't show him as retired, but he is actually off the racetrack. Yeah, there's a couple of things that could have happened in that regard. The window might have minimized. The steering wheel might have unplugged. There's several different things that might have occurred. One thing that I do know is that his brake pedal and acceleration pedal, they were still hooked up because I watched his telemetry as that car darted down into the entrance of turn 1, and he was hard on the brakes trying to get that thing woed down. Unfortunately, there's not a whole lot of grip for these tires through the grass to get the thing woed up, but he was trying to make sure that thing didn't come back up the racetrack. So my thought would be more than likely the steering wheel apparatus ended up getting unplugged or something at some point in time, and unfortunately, a couple of drivers, innocent victims, getting swept up in it.
Yeah, unfortunately so. And yeah, he actually jumped into the chat there, said that the wheel did indeed shut off
Ugh.
and send him to the infield there. So, Steve, tough break, man. Sorry that took you out so early on, but hey, it was good seeing you out here. It's been a while since I'd seen you for one of these deals, so always cool stuff. And I will say, just in regard to the chat there, I don't think that that's anything related. It's just trolls being trolls. It's all of this.
Yeah, I'm not seeing it on my chat, so I'm pretty sure it is a troll.
It's because I deleted it.
Oh, there you go. Got lights out on the Full Circle Racing Designs Toyota Camry. So the logo getting represented at least here at the front of the field under pacing. It was the sponsor of the 23 of Philbrick, who unfortunately, as we mentioned, is out of the race. So at least that sponsor gets some TV time.
Very true. Gonna take care of this really quick.
So I'm gonna have to follow up on this. 45 of Danny Rivera and the 18 of Tyler Mallon. Rivera for missing the start, Mallon coming down pit road for what I'm assuming was an unscheduled pit stop. They're -1. I'm not certain what the Lucky Dog system is here in ISRL. I don't know if it's one Lucky Dog, if it's two Lucky Dogs, if it's no Lucky Dogs, but I believe the 45 of Danny Rivera, if there is a Lucky Dog system, he would be the driver that would be back on the lead lap. More than likely, that lap would end up getting added back here once we go green.
Yeah, I would imagine that's probably what the deal is going to be, because they didn't see him go around or anything of that sort. We've got a big Ryan Edema fan in the chat there.
Yes, we
go
do.
92. But
and
right
92 is running in 17th. Made it through all that carnage in the initial wreck.
I think that's going to be the name of the game for a good while here. We are coming to lap 11 of 200, 190 laps to go. God, I still can't believe I'm saying that. But Kelly Causey bringing him to the green flag here once again. Joshua Mercurio to the outside. 97, that's Cade Welty in third place at the moment. Ken Squires restarted fourth there, and already the inside lane forming up. They're going to try to take charge.
Got some fast cars on the inside line there as well. Third in line, Keith Hughes in the 82, leading the Honda Brigade. 20 of Aaron Hall right behind him, and then you've also got Jeff Perchatsky. I believe that's how you pronounce his name. If it's not, then apologies. That's what they were talking about. A 200-lap race. If we end up making mistakes on names, on facts, we've got about 150, 175 laps to be able to remedy it.
Oh yeah, I'm sure we'll remember all these names by 2 to go.
We'll get it all right by lap 199.
That sounds right. I am going to send a shout out also to this 5-car. This Summit Racing scheme, I love it. That is so cool. We've also got the, there's a 22 James Hodge, the guy who threw together the the intro video that you saw, which shout out to him for that one, and major credit to him. Coming up here, 15, Fabia McKay, I believe is how you pronounce that as well. And that is the Volkswagen of the field.
That's the Volkswagen. You're right.
And running 8th. How about that? I think that's actually going to be more like 6th at this rate. Across the line there that time. Yep, he was scored 7th. Rest of the top 10 right now, 24. Samuel Cruz. And then there's Mercurio, files into 9th in line. And then we got side by side there for 10th place between the 98. Whoa, there goes Mercurio.
Mercurio.
Dropping out of line. I'm a little surprised at that.
Yeah, looks like he might be, well, here's the thing. I'm not certain if it's a dropping out of line to fall at the back for self-preservation, or it's the fact you talked about it earlier. This is hardcore mode. The driving aids that drivers may have, whether they're on controller, on wheel, or heaven help any keyboarders that try to race in this race, but if you're coming off a turn 2, you put in the wheel input that you're used to if you have assistance, that thing's going to turn left a lot more than you're used to, and I'm almost wondering if maybe it almost stepped out on the 9 of Mercurio there off of turn 2. Even right there, I just noticed that Welty and Hughes in 2nd and 3rd, they went down to the yellow line, so I have a feeling that with the driving aids not being available to these drivers in this race, their steering input is a little more than they're used to, and that's why we're seeing so many cars get a little bit out of shape off the 2nd corner.
Agreed. Yeah, and from what I've also heard, with the way that this track drives, it's a little more gripped up, so those responses that you're talking about are going to be amplified even more because the response of the car is going to be almost instantaneous. So it's going to take some getting used to. I mean, it's like you said, though, these guys did have some time to at least get used to the track itself with the duels and some of the other sprint races. Some guys ran in the ARCA race last night. So that's going to be the big question as to who's going to be able to figure it out. I mean, they've got a long time to be able to do it. Let's see. I think the race winner gets something, but I can't remember offhand what it is. And yeah, racing with a keyboard. Seth knows a thing or two about that.
Oh, yeah. I went out on the track here tonight. I was like, I'll turn some laps. I'll try and get a little bit of data so we can go inside the head of the race car driver, what they're able to do. And I got out there, and when I made a left-hand turn coming out of my pit stall, I nearly ended up in victory lane in the infield because the input was so strong. So, yeah.
It's
just a follow-up, although
yeah,
that I'm not sure exactly what led to it, but when we came to green, the 26 of Ryan Palmer actually came down pit road. It looks like he's taken himself out of the race. So we're up to 3 drivers back in the garage area: Palmer, Rada, and Philbrook. And just to confirm, Tyler Mallon was the first car 1 lap down under that yellow. He got back on the lead lap. So Daniel Rivera right now is the only car off the lead lap, and he'd be looking for the next caution to get the free pass himself.
Yeah, we'll see if he's able to get up there. Malin is up here in this lead pack, and I will mention, I was just kind of scrolling through the field there, Seth. Rada is actually still out there.
Oh, well, there you go.
Right now, I think that
I know why.
He's like half a lap down at the moment.
I watched the Discord chat here tonight, and apparently there's a bet between himself and Joseph Landy Pavlon. Whoever finishes the highest, the loser has to buy them lunch on Monday.
Oh, so there is some incentive there.
There is.
Whoa, boy.
Not just that checkered flag. You want a free lunch.
Hey, you might as well get like $20 for that, right?
I know, right? Why would you turn down a free lunch? You'd be crazy to.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Keep it going. Got Ken Squires leading the outside lane at the moment, currently side by side, where I believe that would be the 6th position, 7th position, trying to get up to James Hodge there. But yeah, these cars are moving around quite a bit, as you said. I think just trying to settle them down is going to be the name of the game. Just feel it out, do what you can. Everyone's keeping it pretty calm at the moment, and hopefully we got the jitters out of the way. As right when I say that, 22 slides up the track a little bit. That was a little nerve-wracking.
You talk about them looking a little unsteady, and I completely agree with you, and I think that that's going to be an issue for drivers that are trying this second lane. because with more racetrack, the longer way around the racetrack, it's going to be really difficult to keep those bumpers lined up, to be able to keep the draft tight and keep that momentum moving forward. They're right now kind of stalled out around a battle for sixth position, maybe able to get up there alongside the 5 of Percheski for 5th, but they're just not moving forward. They're not falling back, but they're just kind of stalled out up there, and I think that's the fact that they're not able to get those bumpers lined up as tightly as they would like to.
Yeah, I think as the race goes on, they'll be a little more aggressive with that. I don't think that they're in too much of a hurry to try to get up there at the moment. At least that would be my mentality. Of course, I can't 100% speak for them. But right now, of Kernby Edwards, currently second in line there with the head honcho himself, that Air Force number 3, Greg Irwin, right there, third car outside line. But you also see when they get side by side, that causes that inside to kind of stall out a little bit. I don't know if that's by design or if that's an effect of the. I say side draft, even though it's not entirely prevalent in the game, but I definitely think that it does hurt your momentum, and that's why we see Hodge kind of falling off of the car in front of him.
I'll tell you what it does for that inside line. So taking and using the 22 of Hodge as an example, when you're on that inside line, whether it be Daytona or Talladega, you carry so much speed the shorter way around the racetrack, and the right front tire builds up a little bit more heat that you actually get tight and push up off of those corners. If you've got a car to your outside, you don't have... Oh, Causey, what a save! I don't know if he got a bad bump there from Welty or not.
Oh, he just got contact.
Airborne goes the 20 of Aaron Hall, and he's up and over.
Holy
no caution.
Smokes.
I think that was all off the racing surface. We're still green.
Didn't quite get to the shot there.
What a crazy blowover for the Jack Daniels Ford.
Oh, man, we're going to have a look at that here in a bit. But yeah, the fact that that was all below the racing line, that's not going to be a caution unless the admin decides to throw it. But that is going to give the lead to the 82, Keith Hughes, excuse me. But holy cow, that was sudden.
Yeah, Keith was ready for that shot right up the middle when he saw both the 97 and the 00, well, actually 000, lose their momentum off of turn 2. They've gotten it organized again up here at the front, but we were talking about that outside line needing some help. Ken Squire still in that top line, and now they're side by side for second, so that certainly helped the top side a bunch.
Golly, Hall going for quite a flip there. Yep, that looked like just a bad bump.
I thought the 20 was going to land back on his wheels, but then it kind of took like a slight turn back over to the roof.
Oh, man. That was nuts. That was crazy. But, hey, kept it going, and we are still green flag racing.
Kelly Causey's still going as well, back in the 26th position, ahead of a few drivers, so able to keep that thing together. Never, I don't think officially ever spun out, kind of had a half spin when the contact took place between himself and Aaron Hall, but was able to get it righted once again. Had to use the infield grass through 3 and 4 to get back onto the racing surface, but yeah, both drivers still on the lead lap at this point in time.
Going to be praying for a caution here as we were probably a little more than halfway through the fuel run.
Oh, they almost just got one. The 97 got left sides on the apron, and whew.
That was crazy. And hey, lucky for us, these are simulated cars, so no problems there. But that outside, like you said, definitely came forward. But then, just like that, big shove there from looked like the 5, and they are starting to pull away once more and trying to get ahead. But man, it's like all of a sudden the movement is back, and a lot of the kind of unsettled nature of how they're racing.
It's been quite a week for Keith Hughes as well. Last Sunday, ended up taking the victory in the Clash in the Fast Racing League. And then this past Thursday, picked up his second win on the season in the Rolling Thunder Gaming Talladega Challenge. So he's been picking up checkered flags here in the last 7 days. He'd love to cap that off here tonight with a win in the ISRL Daytona 500, but still a long ways to go. We've crossed the lap 25 threshold, so we're an eighth of the way through.
Oh my goodness gracious. Well, it's safe. We said it. We're in for the long haul, as Ali said at the very start. Make sure you got that popcorn going. If you've already gone through a bowl, go get another one. We're gonna have plenty more to come here.
One thing that's kind of interesting with the fact that that incident did not bring out a yellow, that keeps our fuel window still in play. Right now, these drivers are well, they're nearing halfway through this fuel run. They're going to be on pit road under green flag conditions if we get to that point, somewhere between laps 48 to 51. We did have a couple of drivers that did come down. Oh, we
Oh,
got another wreck.
crashing!
That's Mercurio, I think, in the 9 that hit the wall hard.
Someone facing the wrong way there, and that is Mercurio. Sean Whitehill went through the grass there. Well, there's that caution we were talking about that those guys needed.
Well, of course, when I start talking about green flag pit stops, inevitably I end up jinxing it and a caution comes out.
uh, something something us commentators are all too familiar with. Although it doesn't look like he had really. Oh yeah,
This one was weird too. What in
that
the
was
world
a.
happened to the 100 of Hyde?
It looked like Hyde got bumped by Blake Warren's 283, and that shoved him into Mercurio, and that's what sent him around. Now, that's my only guess. I saw Malin starting to make a pretty bold move there. But that just looked like a case of a bad bump at a bad time, and that was it.
Looking from the aerial view, Andrew, there was no contact. There was no bump.
Really?
There was a big ton of space there between the back bumper of the 100 and the rear bumper of the 283.
Have a
That
look at
thing
this
just
here.
turned left. It almost looks Steve Rada-esque in a way, where like
Oh
he
my,
wasn't
it
even in
does.
control.
You're absolutely right. But then, as soon as contact was made, they he got it back going. That was bizarre. Ooh.
Trying to follow this up.
In the meantime, I'm going to be keeping my eye on pit stops here because we got most of the field coming down here. No real surprise, being about halfway
So
through
it's
the fuel
looking
run.
like, real quickly here, it's looking like Apollo Hyde had a connection problem. He dropped out of the TeamSpeak and more than likely
Oh,
might have disappeared on everybody's screen and might have had them disappear. And that brief moment, that internet blip, might have been him not being in control, and the car would naturally then follow the LP on this racetrack, which would have pulled him down to the inside. So I think that might have been what happened right there. It looks like internet connection problems for the 100.
man, that's I mean, we see that sometimes in these races, and with it being this length, new mod, kind of more graphically new track, that thing can happen. We also had some spinners there on pit road.
With it being a super speedway race, a slight thing like that, even though it's out of your control, there's going to be a lot of drivers that more than likely are going to be the innocent victims and pay the price for it with how close everything is.
Oh yeah, true that. Interesting here, we have Greg Irwin staying out thus far.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I can't say I don't like the strategy, but I can't say I like the strategy. These drivers were still about 20 to 22 laps away from when they would have had to come to pit road. So he's right now, Greg Irwin is thinking, I'm going to take the track position. He was, I believe, around 8th or ninth when the caution came out, so a net gain of about 8 spots. I think he feels the clean air and being ahead, having the ability to be on that inside line, that's the important thing, and he's banking on a caution coming out within the next 20 laps, so that way, more than likely, everybody else gets drawn down pit road with him, and he still gets to keep the positions out front.
That would be my only guess. He is clutching really, really hard here. Up here at the front, I see that car just doing the classic clutch twitch, which just kind of settles down on the front end. Definitely trying to save some fuel. I see, looks like the 82 doing the same thing. And then we got 97. That's in third place.
18 and 31 coming down, topping off the fuel tank. I think you're going to see a lot of drivers towards the rear of the field under these caution periods do the same thing. They're not really giving up a whole lot of spots. Might as well come down, get that extra lap or two of fuel. Could be a difference maker later on in this race. And that's another thing that we haven't talked about with how long this race is. We talk about endurance races where, the crew chief, the engineer, they work the numbers from back to front. These drivers kind of have to do the same thing here in this race, especially with the timing of when these yellows fall. I think that's why you're seeing a number of these drivers up at the front throwing in the clutch here. I know there's a long ways to go, but saving an extra lap or two of fuel could be the difference between whether you're going to have to make 4 pit stops from here to the end or 5 pit stops or 6. I mean, as of right now, these drivers would still have to come to pit road at least 4 more times, I think. I think my math's correct. It might be 5. That's why I'm up here. That's why I'm not down in the car. Too many things to think about.
Yeah, the 200 is too big of a number to do math.
Especially when it's a super speedway. Come on, you're expecting me to be in double wide and 3 wide situations, dealing with checkup in front of me, trying to line up bumpers, and then you want me to worry about fuel numbers on top of that? Come on.
Too much going on here. As here comes Greg. Greg just pitted now, and got another one coming down there.
Is that Edema?
That is indeed Edema at the moment. And the number 92 down there to top off a little bit with fuel, playing the long game. Field is going to double up here. Keith Hughes is going to be back up front here with Cade Welty up in second place, car 97. Jeff Perchask and then Joshua Clements will be row 2.
Caution was a huge break for a few drivers. One, you have Aaron Hall, managed to stay on the lead lap. Kelly Causey also, as we saw, was able to stay on the lead lap. And Daniel Rivera, the patience pays off. He missed the start, ended up losing a lap. Didn't get the lucky dog under the first caution, but he will be the free pass under the second yellow. So we'll have 29 drivers on the lead lap. I do believe that's the 100 of Apollo Hyde. Yes, I believe he is done for the evening. Was looking over the abbreviated drivers meeting in the Discord earlier on tonight, and it is a 2 and park system. And the 100 was involved in an incident earlier on, and with this being his second incident, looks like he has had to call it an early night, and he'll be credited with 31st. Verada should pick up that 30th spot in the next 2 or 3 laps.
Yeah, one would think. We'll certainly be keeping an eye on that. Checking the back of the field at the moment. Yep, Rivera going tail end by the looks of it. Of course, see back there as well. There's Malin still out on track. Rada still out on track, albeit 5 laps down. And yeah, the 100 was scored 3 down. But we'll probably be scored as retired when we come back to the green here. 90 to go. Or, excuse me. No. Yeah. Oh my god, what am I talking about? I can't math, like I said.
Yeah, 90 to go plus another 90.
Yeah.
Oh no, another 80. Yeah, another. See, I can't math either. Why
170.
Are we here?
That's
Where's
what
our
it is.
mathematician? Where
it's
are
170. Whoa! Oh, 97. Oh man, that was sketchy. Trying to get down to the inside lane there, but that was moving all around. But they keep it straight. And it's going to leave Joshua Clements to lead the outside lane, with Ken Squires pushing him. Zachary Bilson up there as well. The 98 of Tristan Gray starting to come up here as well to the top 10. 24 Samuel Cruz also making a charge for the top 5.
Tristan Grace, 98 and 7 of Tyler Stallhood. Remember, they were both involved in those incidents that brought out the first caution of the day. So nice rebound for them back up inside of the top 10. That's one of the blessings of moderate damage, is if you haven't had damage around that engine area and lost power, you may still have a second chance to be able to compete for the checkered flag. So nice job by those two, keeping the damage to a minimal and staying competitive.
That's the best you can do. I mean, We still have the length of the race longer than any race that you'll probably ever see. So this is it's a test of endurance for everyone involved, as I said. Tyler Stallhood, though, trying to make a charge down the outside lane. Car number 7, that brightly colored Subaru, the Excite machine. We can also maybe jump up there, Blake Warren.
Yeah. I was wondering about if that 283 was going to be up to speed when he got into Joshua Mercurio. Looks like trying to get up there, lead that outside line. Looks like he's still up to speed, good to go. One driver I was concerned about before we ended up having that caution come out was the 7 of Tyler Stallhood, because I looked back and I saw him, as well as I think it was the 12 of Hashi Baroku. They were kind of running by themselves along with the lap machine of Steve Freda, and I wondered if maybe they had, with the contact from the earlier incident, maybe sustained enough damage that they weren't able to stay up with the lead pack. But now that we see them up here with this lead group, it appears that they may have just kind of been pulling the Joe Gibbs racing strategy. Hang back as far as you can so you have enough reaction time if something happens up ahead of you, and just not too far back that you end up getting trapped a lap down.
Yeah, that's why I think that caution was actually a saving grace for a few of them when they fell back, and then they were able to catch back up. Of course, getting lucky dog for, I believe you said the 45. So.
Somebody, yes, the 31 Honda of Ethan Collier might be in danger of losing the tail end of the draft. Tate Dorsey right now, the last driver in that line. We'll keep an eye. I'll keep an eye on him, see if he ends up losing the draft or not. Because if he does, then he's certainly going to hope for a caution to save him. Because it doesn't. It's not a real short time, but it kind of feels like that when you're a slower machine, for the big pack to rumble its way around this 2.5 mile super speedway and trap you a lap down. I mean, right now, looking at the speed, there's about 20 miles per hour difference between the 82, the race leader, and that 31 car.
Take on that. Yeah, he's gonna be in a bit of trouble here.
Yeah, they
so
were
now
they
he's
were
gonna be
racing
hoping for
double
the
wide
next
ahead
yellow.
of him, and I thought he might be able to stay in touch, but now they've kind of single filed at the tail end of that pack, so he's in trouble right now.
Tyler Mallon now jumping to the outside lane. Whoa, goodness, is the 97 also getting pulled down there. It's like you said, that's like that yellow line off of these corners just sucks you down when there's no assists running. Which, I guess with the high grip, that's kind of to be expected, as the 80 now jumps on the line. But I don't think it's too sustainable. I'm sure the checkups have something to do with that.
Woo! Joshua Clements nearly got out of
goodness.
shape there. Got a bump from Tyler Stallhood.
We got that.
This is starting to get a little racy here inside of the latter half of the top 10.
Oof. Although, look, once Tyler Mallon jumped up to the outside, look how many spots they've just gained.
When you've got a fast car, you can tow a line, and we know that Tyler Mallon obviously has a fast car. Started this race from the pole position. He was fast in his dual race as well. Finished second in duel number 1.
First
one. He's been fast all of Speedways.
Oh yeah, and of course.
Oh, we got a caution, I think. Yeah, yellow flag's out. I'm not sure what for, but we do have our third
big
caution
spin
of the day.
Aaron Hall 20.
Oh, the
involved.
Lexus. Joseph Landy Pavlon. Oh, he went for a barrel roll, actually, did Pavlon. Oh, gracious.
Not the Lexus. Let's see what has gone out.
Oh, he just barely clipped the 88 of Derek Schauer. Wow.
Yep. Yeah, that all started from there's a little clip there between the 12 and 20. Caution number 3 out here, lap 38. And yep, just a little barrel roll there. We get a better look at it now.
I don't know how that 4 of Tate Dorsey didn't spin out. And a half spin trying to get on the brakes to avoid the spinning 88. Nearly looped it around himself.
Yeah, Shower and Mercurio, some good saves there. And Dorsey will keep their Knights relatively intact. I think that the 86 also kind of flipped on. There's still a slight transition there in the banking from
Right.
just below the yellow line down to the very flat. I wonder if that also may have had something to do with that. I was just about to mention we've got um, we've got another fan in the chat there rooting for your race leader there, Keith Hughes. See if anyone brings it.
Is about to lead the most laps here up to this point. Kelly
Some
Causey had led 17, and Keith about to cross the line to lead his 17th. Only other 3 drivers that have led laps, 2 for Cade Welty, 2 for Tyler Mallon, and 1 for Greg Irwin.
There we go. That's why I got this guy on board, because I knew that he would be, he's Mr. Stat Guy. I love
But
it.
you know what this caution means, Andrew?
What's that?
Steve Rada gets one of his laps back.
Oh, hey.
He could be back on the lead lap before this is all said and done.
I've seen it done. I would not be surprised in the slightest.
Gonna be -4 once we go back green.
Hey, Joseph's got to be getting nervous now.
Right? Oh no, that lunch is slipping away.
No, not my money.
We had about a dozen drivers that came down pit road. Highest of them, I believe, was Tyler Mallon in the 18. Dahlhood, Blake Warren, Daniel Rivera, Zachary Bilson, Joshua Clemens was also on pit road. Bren Ware, Hashi Baroku.
This could get a little interesting as far as the field now probably being split on the pit
It's
strategy.
very split, you're right.
Like, it almost looks like it's going to end up being like 50-50 as far as who's going to be able to go the longer way and who's going to have to pit sooner. And that's going to spice things up with, if we make it to that round of green flag pit stops.
It looks like trying to like eliminate the drivers that I've got on the list right now since it hasn't updated itself. It'll update once they cross the line, but I'd say we have about maybe 15 drivers, 14, 15 drivers that stayed out. On the flip side, about 13, 14 drivers that came to pit road. So it's just about an even split of those that pitted and those that did not.
All right, and that was about maybe what, a 7 or 8 lap run, would you say?
Yeah, roughly, yeah.
So that means that this field's going to be split. I mean, you see some of these guys up here clutching a little bit, so they might be able to get an extra lap in there, but that's still going to separate them by at least 5 or 6 laps. And there's a question for you, Seth, as well. I'm sure that everyone has their different strategies, but on a super speedway, would you favor trying to pit a little sooner or trying to just run it out on a normal given strategy?
So if it were at this portion of the race, then I'd be of the assumption of try to run it out. The main reason being you're going to have a group of drivers 1 or 2 laps prior try and make it onto pit lane. There's no guarantee that they're going to make it safely. You may end up catching a quick caution and being able to come to pit road under yellow, which is a lot easier than making a green flag pit stop with a big pack of cars. We get later on in this race, though, especially if we end up getting a late race caution, I might be inclined to try and be one of the first ones onto pit road, because if you catch a yellow flag then and still stay on the lead lap, you get all the track position of the drivers that still are yet to make their pit stops. So as of right now, I'd be in the camp of wanting to pit as late as possible and try and have a caution save me at that point.
I gotcha. Yeah, I would agree with that. I say try to pit with as small of a pack as possible, but of course you still want it to be a pack. Because
a small
otherwise,
big pack, does that make sense?
Oh yeah, like maybe what 6, 7 at most.
Yeah. You want a pack that you're comfortable with, but you don't want to have like a group of 20 come down pit road with you.
No, yeah.
More than likely you're only going to leave pit road with about 4 of those original 20.
Mm-hmm. And then you're gonna get everyone kind of spreading out for their different braking zones, and then they have to funnel it down once they make it onto pit road, and that gets really hairy. So
I wonder how many of these drivers actually practiced green flag pit stops. I mean, obviously, we know that there's teammates, there are drivers that work with each other. We've got a number of different series that are represented here in this race tonight. Of course, IRSL. You've also got ISRL. I'll get the acronym right one of these times. So you got Melancar, you got Mondays of Thunder, you've got DIORE. I believe you got Fast represented in here. You got RECS. So, there's a lot of different factions. Solstice, I think, is also represented in this race. So you've got drivers that you've raced with week in, week out, you're comfortable with. You've got drivers that have earned your respect here in these first 40 or some odd laps. You've kind of singled them out as, hey, they know what they're doing. I'm going to work with them. So, with all those alliances, you've obviously got a group of drivers that you're going to be coming down pit road with if there's green flag pit stops. I wonder if they all practiced green flag pit stops as a pack here, either in practice or during happy hour.
I would hope so, because in much the same way that they're driving without assist, driving on a different version of the track, so they're going to have to get used to how this particular setup gets onto pit road. If you're used to driving with ABS, trying to get used to not locking them up, which I would have a big problem with, because I 100% need need that ABS on. Otherwise, I'd be in trouble. So
otherwise, your right front is gone.
right front is gone, and so is everyone else, because I locked it up and had no steering. Coming to the green flag here, lap 43. Third caution of the race, just about to come to a conclusion here. Keith Hughes currently dominating here since probably about 20 laps ago. Still got Cade Welty to the outside there. And it's Jeff Perchak and Samuel Cruz. We're back at it.
I love the advice that the 92 was given in the chat. Go fast and don't touch the grass.
Go fast. Don't touch grass. There's not
don't
much
touch the
grip
apron.
down there.
Don't touch the apron either. Don't go that far down.
Yeah, Kelly Causey found that out. Which, speaking of Causey, look where he's at now all of a sudden.
Yeah, Buckshot making his way back up to the front. Gonna take fourth position away from that 97.
Just like that. Right back up to the front.
And Squires has found his way to the inside now. We saw him trying to lead the outside line the last couple of runs, but now he's tucked into the 5th spot. Dahlhood right behind him in the 7.
There's a couple of guys with a fair amount of experience there. 97 trying to make the outside work. Maybe trying to force his way down to the inside lane there in front of the 24. They're going to be able to make that work. But, man, there's so much
movement we got a wreck
here.
In the back. Caution's out.
Boy.
Oh, Sean Whitehill's up and over. Showers involved.
Someone else spinning, someone else flipping.
Yeah, he grip flipped. Man.
I saw a lot of movement there just throughout the field. I was getting a little worried.
That happened at the back. I just saw the smoke cloud there when the leaders were coming out at turn number 2. I think this might start with the 31 of Collier. Well,
yeah, they all started to check up by the looks of it, and a few guys made contact.
We had a reactionary wreck. That's what we had, because, yeah, it happened in the middle of the pack, all the movement, and then everybody in the back of the pack made contact in reaction to what they saw up ahead. I think it was the 12. I think the 12 of Baroku got out of shape around the 12th position. Everybody on that inside line checked up, and then you got back to around the 20th spot where Collier was running, and that's where drivers just weren't able to react in time.
It was the 20 that initially got into Whitehill, and that's what sent them spinning. Also, Steve Rada actually took quite a hit there when 196 came back up the track. So we'll see how much damage that may have done to the 503 machine.
A heck of a save by Greg Irwin. He got a pretty good shot from, I believe that was Edema, and that was right in the center of the corner, and he was able to keep that thing pointed in the right direction.
And one of the advantages of the high grip, you're able to save it a little easier. One of the disadvantages, Cars are going to flip a little easier.
Yes, indeed. And that 31 was fine. He had a pretty harmless spin there, going through the infield grass at turn 2, but then sliding sideways onto that runoff apron there off of turn 2. Those right side tires just gripped the track and flipped him over for a time. I don't think he made a lot of contact with the roof, which is a good thing. So
No, I think with it being
sometimes you get those harmless flips. If you can kind of flip from wheels back to wheels, then you're okay. That kind of almost looked similar to something like that for me. So he might be all right, but I don't know. Moderate damage is so finicky when it comes to super speedway racing. Sometimes when you see a wreck and you think, oh, that car's done, next thing you know, you see him up inside of the top 5. And on the flip side, you see what looks like harmless content. You're like, oh, they'll be fine. And you see them running 5-6 seconds behind the leaders after 3 laps.
barely able to hold on. It works pretty funny that way. Now, I am not surprised if we see a split strategy once again with the guys that pitted that first time around, and now we've got the field that didn't coming in this time around. So Tyler Stallhood is going to at least briefly inherit the lead.
It wasn't very split. I think you had 7 drivers that stayed out. Most everybody else came to pit road.
That's Stallhood, Edward, Hodge, Erwin, Dorsey have stayed out. So there's Rada.
I think a reason why you ended up having most of the field come down pit road this time, even if they had just pit under the last caution, is because we're now about 45 laps in. This would have been just a little past when they would have made the first pit stop under green flag conditions. So this puts them back on the sequence they would have been on at the start of the race, pretty much, as far as how many stops they'd have to make from start to finish.
Yeah, that's true. So, I mean, hey, playing the long game strategy, you got to kind of run it backwards from like, okay, when would my last pit stop usually be if we go green, and then just kind of work it back from there. That's usually how I try to do it. Because everyone has their different ways. Who knows? It might just be like, okay, where do I feel most comfortable running this early on? Not even a quarter of the way through this thing. Oh goodness.
Yeah,
How you
not
doing?
100% certain on the ruling of Lucky Dog. I don't know if you're involved in the wreck, if you are the recipient of the free pass, because Steve Rada was, as we know, involved in that. He did get some contact. He is the only driver running right now that's off the lead lap, so he may end up getting a lap back. If he does, he'd be -3. If he doesn't, he would stay at -4. We're not going to know the answer to that until we end up going back green, but yeah, that's the situation right now for the 503. And I'm looking in the chat right now. The sponsor for that 000, Kelly Causey, is Bluebell Ice Cream, and I'm being told by Rodney Sullins that it's melting on his rear bumper. Could that be a hack where if somebody hooks up to your back bumper, they stick to your back bumper and you're able to get more of a 2-car tandem than you would be able to under normal circumstances? I don't know if officials will agree with something like that.
I mean, surely that would also be not good for the track surface, I would imagine.
I mean, the track's gripped up enough. What's a little ice cream on the track gonna do?
that is very fair.
Maybe that's why we have the grip flips. Maybe the ice cream on the track that's stripping off that back bumper is causing these grip flips. We finally solved the mystery.
Right. Oh man, this is pretty darn cool. Seeing everybody in the chat. Great to be doing this. Oh my goodness, this is. I thought that I would be prepared for how long this was going to be, but so far I don't think I fully was. But hey, we're gonna be bringing it to you regardless. We're gonna have some fun. Seth, again though, you are proven to be an absolute lifesaver. Holy smokes!
You gotta have fun with these things, right? They're long endurance races, not particularly for the drivers, but for the commentators. One thing I like about these kind of races, though, too, is you can kind of have a laid-back kind of attitude with it. Get the chat involved. Talk about random things. I mean, you gotta have fun. You gotta have fun with these type of things.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, we had some trolling going on, but hey, that means you're making it, right? And you might want to keep that in the DM. That's all I'm going to say. Field's going to be getting doubled up here with Stallhood the leader. And that what's that, the 407, right?
Yep. One of, I
Beautiful
think,
looking Dodge.
two. I think it's one of two Dodges in the field. I think Joshua Mercurio is the other one.
I think you're right. Then we're gonna have Hodge and Causey, third and fourth. Blake, looking pretty good, man.
Yeah, he's looking good. I'm not going to mention. Actually, I'm going to mention. I saw him brush the wall there under pacing through the tri-oval. just give him the
Don't
wall
type and
little
drive,
safer
Blake. Come
barrier. A
on.
little. Yeah, that might have been when he actually messaged it in the chat. Maybe, perhaps when he brushed the wall. Who knows? Don't do that.
And
Don't text and drive.
Greg's probably watching him, going, "Dude, what was that?"
I was in a league race one time where somebody actually was sending a message. I think they were posting a tweet or something, and they ran to the back of someone under pacing. So yeah, don't text and drive.
No, and this is just more evidence of that. So we got the
Hey, I mean, we're having fun up here in the booth. The drivers got to entertain themselves too, right?
Oh yeah.
They got to have some fun. So
I mean,
yeah, they're
we're just about coming up to the quarter way point. Quarter.
yeah.
So yeah, I'm sure that it's just gonna be like, all right, let's try to be cool, but also, I mean, got a long way to go, guys. Let's have some fun. Stallhood leading him to the green flag here, the X side. Machine might be able to get clear. And we'll see if he's going to keep it on that inside here or not. Causey's going to jump down. Got to push him here. Tyler Mallon back up to the front running. Going to be just about fourth or fifth. On this one, little side warp. I believe that was Tristan Grace. It looks like that car has settled down, so that'll keep him in a reasonable spot, at least for the time being. And now Mallon going to try and give a shot here to the beautiful what they can do with that outside line. And someone else who's up here, look at this, from a lap down, missing the start. The 45 of Daniel Rivera, now up to fourth.
Yeah, Daniel Rivera ended up initially missing the Daytona 500 in the duels, but ended up getting the fan vote. The fan vote was actually based off of the conglomerate admins deciding who they thought was a driver that was unfortunate to miss out, but should get a second chance to participate in the 500. And Daniel Rivera really caught the eye of them and ended up becoming the fan vote winner. And he's proven them right, with as you said, from a lap down, missing the start, and now up here inside of the top five, has done a heck of a job of working his way towards the front. So I think the admins made a pretty good call on giving this number 45 a second opportunity to participate in tonight's Daytona 500 event.
I would agree on that one. It's showing, and Keith Hughes also coming up a little bit back forward. You're going to be fifth now at the line for the number 82.
Yeah, we've had a Chevrolet out in front with Kelly Causey. We've had a Honda out in front with Keith Hughes. We've now got a Subaru out in front here, a WRX leading the Daytona 500. I think we're able to see that actually happen in NASCAR, but it's cool to see it happening here in this race tonight.
Let's see, we've got Subaru, Chevy, Honda, Toyota, Honda in the top five at the moment, although that 45 is about to get shuffled.
I think Subaru, I immediately think of rally cars. But I'll tell you what, though, it looks really good. That template looks really good. I know that there's been a lot of experimentation of different manufacturers on this next-gen mod. I know that James Hodge, who's actually running in that third position, he was the creator of the Honda template, rocking that Honda template, as are a number of others in the field. But there's a whole bunch of different templates that are out there. I ended up a couple of days ago actually scrolling through Done On Racing and ended up finding out that there's about 20-25 different manufacturers that are out there available to be put on the generic template for this mod, and some of them are very, very creative. So, while I'm a little surprised to see Subarus and Volkswagens in the field here tonight, with what I saw a couple of days ago, I'm not as surprised as I would have.
Now, based on what I just saw in the chat, which also tried to keep it cool down there, but did I really just read that Keith Hughes is using a keyboard right now?
Oh,
probably referring to someone else. Okay, I think I just translated that properly. My
Yeah,
fault.
I'm pretty sure that Keith is using a wheel, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, with 0 assist, I don't think any of these guys are using a keyboard at the moment.
If any of these guys in this field are using a keyboard, then my hat's off to them. I wish I was as good as you are right now because
Because yeah, you got some kind of hack going. Because there's no assists allowed.
no.
I don't know if. Whoa,
Oh,
you
Keith!
hold on to it, buddy. Oh man, they kept it straight though. That's gonna get an outside bit of a charge here.
Allen's been trying to lead that top line. Got Welty in the 97, Irwin in the 3.
Oh man, look at them all shoving each other up there.
That's what they have to do, unfortunately, too, is they kind of have to shove, because if you end up laying
Uh-oh.
off too much, you're going to not have enough momentum. Causey wanted to get up there to that outside line, but jumps down back to the inside. Very fortunate he didn't get put in the sucker hole. That's one thing that we have to talk about real quickly here, too, that I noticed is you cannot block until the final lap. And in super speedway racing, there's a fine line between what's being considered a block and what's being considered moving up to try and pick up the momentum of a line that may be moving. So as we get closer towards the end of this race, prior to the white flag flying, it will be interesting to see how anxious these drivers will be to try and move up and stall that momentum, because it could be considered a borderline block.
And yeah, we'll be keeping an eye on that. That'll be up to admin discretion. Got Sean Whitehill getting out of the way there. Looks like he's pretty off the pace.
That's
but
a tough break there.
Look at Mallon, though, with this charge on the outside. Going to try and take the lead here. It looks like to answer Ben's question, next leader might be a Toyota.
96 just spun through the infield grass there. Did not come back up the track, so no caution.
Not sure if that might be him just calling it a night.
Yeah, it looks like it very well might be. That's a tough break there. Oh, we got a spinner, and we got a caution. It's Joshua Clements. The 84 just went around, and the 24 of Cruz has also spun it off of turn 2.
Caution number 5, if I'm not mistaken. Gonna fly here.
Correct.
Let's see who they're gonna give the nod to as the leader. And I was also just told by Ben in the chat that we could have had some Kias in this race. Have a look and see exactly what happened here. Oh! Cruz lost a tire. That is really unusual. Sam Cruz appeared to have a tire go down the right front.
Got a look of internet connection problems to me, Andrew.
You think so?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, now that tire does look like it was up. I'm sorry, that looks so much like the tire went down. That was
It really did.
bizarre.
It really did. Just went straight up the track. He clips the apron a tiny bit before it shoots up. But I think what might have happened there, I think probably like we end up seeing earlier with Hyde, I think had a blink moment there with internet. At that point, the AI takes over the car. It just shoots up the track, and boy, Joshua Clemens just nowhere to go. And boy, that 24 split right between, I think that was the 88 of Shower and the 9 of Joshua Mercurio.
And that was lucky. That was incredibly lucky, for especially Mercurio. Holy cow!
But to answer your question, as far as the leader, it was Tyler Mallon. When the caution comes out, field is frozen until we get to, I believe it was 10 laps to go, 10 or 5. I'll double check on that.
This is getting crazy.
John Whitehill is indeed out of the race, and Steve Wright did get the free pass under the last caution, and he'll get another free pass here under this yellow. Well, hold on, hold the phone on that.
To say, if so, then I think, if I'm not mistaken, that'll go to -3.
Well, they got the 20 of Aaron Hall also scored a lap down. I'm going to just double check and see if he lost that lap prior to the caution or not. Oh, actually, no. Aaron Hall's out of the race. He fell out.
Okay.
We'll see if he gets back into the server or not. Right now, he's lost a couple of laps. So, yeah, Steve Rada should end up getting the lucky dog under this one. So, from 5 laps down to about to be 2 laps down.
Yes, that. Joseph, getting a little more, starting to get a little more worried.
Oh, boy.
New leader looks like it is going to be Causey once again.
Didn't have nearly as many drivers come down pit road this time. Allen was the first one to come down, along with Welty and Stallhood of the front runners. I think I'm counting about maybe about 13, 14 drivers that came down pit road this time. Most of your race leaders elected to stay on the racetrack.
How about this though for Causey after getting spun and then making contact? Gonna be up here now, back in the lead, back where he's familiar. Greg Irwin is going to be second with Hughes, and then Pritchak and Grace are going to appear to be the top five should they keep it on the racetrack for the time being, unless they opt to pit. And have a couple takers a little further back there toward just outside the top 10. Daniel Shower's going to be one of them. Dorsey's going to be in there as well in the 4.
Let's have a little fun with our chat here, Andrew. Obviously, as we know, tonight, in celebration of the 20th anniversary of the release of the NASCAR Racing 2003 season, and obviously, I would think every single one of the drivers in the field here would have their stories. They got a lot of fans that also race on the sim that would be in the chat here tonight, and kind of curious of when they were introduced to this sim. I know that mine was back in 2011. Got introduced to it via a man by the name of Sean Galligan, NASCAR stop motion guy. This Craftsman Car Series ran with the original Cup mod, and it was offline racing at the time. And I was hooked with it. He hooked me up with getting the game myself, and ever since then, been now almost 13 years that I've loved this thing. And kind of curious of anybody else there. What's your backstory with this, Andrew?
Well, I started a gentleman by the name of Tristan Allen. I think a good few folks will be familiar with that name. Got me into it initially. Started with offline, just doing my leagues with the AI guys signing up and just putting their names on the cars, which was pretty good fun for a while. And then and then Tristan said, "Hey, you might want to also try some online racing." So November 2017, my first ever online race, and Seth, you were there for that one. I think you
I
may
was.
have even won that race. It would have been North Wilkesboro TRL original truck mod.
Ooh. Don't remember if I won that one or not. I know I won Evergreen that year. I don't know if I won that or not. And Kelly Causey just disappeared from my screen.
That he has, and Greg Irwin just pitted.
That's not good. Did he just fall out?
Golly, what a cursed night.
Yeah, he just fell out. Oh gosh,
It would
from
be
the
in that
lead.
case, man, for Causey. Holy cow. From getting
Wow.
bumped out of the lead and spinning out to getting back up there, and then internet saying, no, sir. Oh,
But
man.
back to your thing there with Tristan Allen. Good man. I won a Fortnite duo with him last night. Yeah, I ended up actually getting introduced to online. A good friend of mine, Jessica Shelton, introduced me to online racing in what was then the trying to remember the exact acronym. I think it was Total Nonstop Racing. Corey Williams, Brandon Guns, Luis Hernandez were the admins of that. I think Eric Rodriguez was part of that admin group as well. And they had a Super Speedway series, and got my first introduction to that. And the noob that I was at the time ran with 100% steering, traction, and stability. Yeah, that's I still do the 100% steering, but the traction and stability, that's a no-no with super speedways. So yeah, 2023 me is looking back at 2015 me and saying, what were you thinking?
I mean,
No
heck,
wonder you couldn't get to the front.
I even went back and watched the race replay, the first race I did, and just how twitchy I was and everything. And then I got on the same track, same setup, same everything, and tried to see how I did. And yeah, of course, way more consistent. It's funny, my fastest lap was not too much faster than the fastest lap from that original race, but I was averaging about a second a lap faster. Oh yeah, and TNT, man. That's I'm sure that he's introduced a lot of folks to this. I think that was my
Oh, for
first
sure.
actual exposure to this game. I just didn't really realize what it was at the time.
A lot of the different graphical things that I've been able to do have been courtesy of things that he's shown on his channel.
Shout out to TNT, man. Putting out the good word there. We are back racing with, oh goodness, 140 laps to go. Keith Hughes back into familiar territory, in the lead, in that Honda. And Jeff Purchas going back down with him there in the number 5.
Because he has returned to the server, as has Blake Warren, who fell under that caution period. They're right now being scored a lap down. We'll see if they have to earn those laps back the hard way or not.
I do see Blake back there in the draft at the moment, just running the high side. Seems to be his good spot there, just kind of running high side, playing it conservative. Can't blame him. That's probably what I'd be doing right now. If I even had the patience to be out there on the track for this. Tyler Mallon, though, looking for a little bit more here. 4th place, not quite enough. It's Tyler Stallhood going to go with him.
Tyler and Tyler show there on the top side. Tyler squared.
Tyler squared. Yeah, Tyler just about squared into by the someone hitting the apron there. I believe that was Barocco in the 12. But yeah, I don't think fancy seeing them up here. I don't think that they've been up here at the front quite yet.
Oh gosh, they nearly wrecked back there around the 11th or 12th spot. I think it was the 88 of Shower. Almost got into the 25 of Ken Squires there down the back straightaway.
And speaking of cars that are back up here being competitive, look at Bren Ware. Didn't he flip on the first caution like multiple times?
He did. He definitely did. You know, there's a couple of drivers that I was thinking about the fact that they've already taken some checkered flags here this week. Mentioned about the fact that Greg Irwin, he ended up winning the first duel. Joshua Clements won the second duel. So they know what to do if they're at the front with a checkered flag on the line with these cars, with this setup, with this track. But then also that 0 of Bren Ware, as you mentioned, mounting that comeback, won the ARCA race last night, and they ran with these cars. So that's another driver that, if put in the right scenario, he knows exactly what to do to get the job done here, maybe in back-to-back nights.
We almost had a moment there. Big chain bump going into turn 3 involving the 45 and the 15. They were able to keep it straight, but that 45 almost went for a ride. I was keeping an eye on that, and he got a shot. And I thought that was going to be them spinning around instantly, but keeping it straight here, I just think that it's still just tough to get a grasp on a track when you're having a hard time when it's something that's still foreign to you. I mean, even at this point in the race, which typically for most races that we reduce, Seth, we'd probably be at coming to 6 to go here or something like that.
Exactly, and that's why I think that the pit road strategy that we keep seeing here under these cautions is so important, because what you said, normally we'd end up having a 50 to a 75, maybe if they have like a lengthier series schedule, a 100 lap event, it's a little bit easier to be able to crunch the numbers and say, all right, well, I'm only going to have to pit once or twice or maybe 3 times. Now you've got to try and figure out how many times you want to come to pit road, if you want to give up track position or not, and then you also have to be aware of all the other drivers around you, if they're on the same fuel number that you're on, or if they can go a little bit further, if they'll have to pit a little bit sooner. With the extra length on the race, it ends up making the strategy a lot more brought to the forefront for these drivers.
Yeah, true that. Just knowing when to pit, what to do, what's going to, oh goodness, what's going to keep you out of harm's way. Speaking of harm's way, we just about like another moment there. These guys have been right on the edge of being out of control.
They're darting. That's what they are.
Yeah, and that it's really making me nervous, and it's been making me nervous for quite some time here.
Well, the good news is we're up here in the booth. Anything that happens on the track doesn't affect us. I feel bad for the drivers, because you see that car ahead of you, dart to the left, dart to the right. The first instinct has to bail out of the throttle. We've seen here in the early going that the driver behind you isn't necessarily going to get that message that you're lifting. Next thing you know, they're into the back of you, and you're involved in a wreck.
Yeah, but for the most part, from what we've been seeing, I mean, I think that Sean Whitehill may have been the one exception, but a lot of cars that have been involved in incidents have not been too much worse for wear here. Number of guys that are still keeping good speed. Like I just mentioned, Bren Ware, the 0, just a little bit ago, doing pretty good. It looks like he might be having kind of a hard time closing on the car in front of him, but he's still holding the draft just fine. we've got this lead pack going back to a Joseph Landy Pavlon. Currently scored, it's 25th the last time. And I think just got passed by a few guys. So I think we got 27 cars up there. And yeah, there was Causey.
Oh, gosh, the 15 pushed way up there, McKay in turn 3.
Oh, we got
Welty
3
tried
wide.
to stay in line, but had to take it to the middle, and we were 3 wide for a moment. We've settled it back out. That was pretty close.
Whew. And hey, whatever you have the most fun with, that's what it boils down to. And I mean, that's what this game and this race boils down to, is just having some fun. Which, speaking of which, I guess I will mention, next time by, we will be taking the 69th lap. Just had to say it.
When I said have fun, alright, you know what, I told you to have fun, so I got no room to talk. Anyway, little house cleaning here. Steve Rada did get the free pass under the last caution. He's now -2. Blake Warren right now would be in the lucky dog position should we get another yellow. He ended up falling out of the server, returned back under the last caution period. He is -1. Kelly Causey is back on the racetrack after he fell out from the lead. He's running by himself, in danger of falling a 4th lap down. Right now, -3 for the driver that was out in front for 19 circuits so far tonight.
Man, you got to feel for Causey there, because of just everything that's been going on to him whenever he does get to the front. And I also love how you transitioned from me making that joke into something that was more serious. So good job.
It's okay. I'll be funnier on lap 96.
Deal.
Yeah. I'll forget by the time we get to there.
Oh man, we're not even halfway through this thing. We're already starting to get a little goofy. Although something I guess I will point out here, we just had quite the separation of the packs here. What's going on there?
I think some of it might have been the checking up that we saw take place in the middle of the pack, but it had some drivers bail out and subsequently lose a little bit of touch with the lead group. Looking at some of the drivers back in this pack, 24 of Cruz I know is up to speed, the 4 of Dorsey I believe is up to speed, Mike Carroll I don't think is off the pace. I think I don't know exactly what led to them being stacked up like this, but they're just kind of hanging back here for the time being, waiting to see what happens in that lead pack up ahead.
They just got up to Causey and just put him another lap down. Man, I feel for him on that one. That hurts. But
alright, so I believe I found out what just happened to them. Apparently Brendan Ware is slightly off the pace. I think he's got aero damage, might be a couple miles per hour off the pace, and they were trying to use him in a single car train, and he just doesn't have the power to be able to lead them. By the time they got around him, it was too late, and they lost touch with the lead pack.
Yeah, now Pavlon's trying to help him along here, and yeah, he's struggling a little bit there, so. I mean, he's at decent speed, but I mean, just with the number of rolls that we saw, I would have been very surprised. Oh goodness, there goes Irwin! He's gonna go airborne! Oh my gosh!
And oh gosh,
that is gonna be a
we
few
got more.
cars done.
47's flipping, 45 is flipping, 88 is flipping.
That's a few cars going to be out of this one.
It's a parking lot there in the apron of 1 and 2. Oh no, Edema, who had such a big fan base tonight. The engine is grenaded on that 92.
Oh man, brutal. Oh goodness.
Oh man, and then the
Still
47
hitting.
just hit the 35 of Mike Carroll, who was sitting in the middle of the track waiting for everybody to go around him.
He was just sitting.
He was doing what he was supposed to do. When you wreck, you're supposed to hold the brake, stay where you are, let everybody go on by you, and then get your car turned around. And unfortunately, he ended up getting punished for doing the right thing.
Yeah, that's oh man.
I think that classifies as the big one so far.
That would be I would say the first big one of the evening. Started with Greg Irwin, I saw. I think he may have just had a bad bump
It is
from the
slightly
97.
ironic when I didn't see it happen live, but I heard you say Greg Irwin got airborne. He's sponsored by the Air Force. That's
Well, perhaps not the best choice of sponsor. Because, yeah, going flying. He definitely got the highest out of everyone in that one. But man, that was
12th
at least
car
three or
was
four
upside
cars.
down.
That was at least 3 or 4 cars that cleared the fence.
That was, I believe, the 3, the 45, and who was the other one? The 88.
Man, yeah, just as we were also saying about the 45 getting back up into contention. See, I think. Oh no, yeah, he bumper grabbed off of Stallhood. That's what it
Yep.
was. Yeah, upside down there for the 12 as well. Bilson just tumbling the Tide Machine. And then as he tried to get going. Oh, goodness.
If we have time for it, before we end up going back for the restart, that 25 of Ken Squires, I think he deserves an onboard. How he was not involved in this, I do not know.
You know what? Let's do it. Let's on board here, number 25. Get this pulled up here for you folks. This is going to be quite an interesting perspective. We'll go hood cam. Little tap there. Oh my gosh! Little tap there to 88.
I think Ken Squires needs to go buy a lottery ticket after this race because he's got some bit of luck on his side.
That and probably a change of fire suit. That was nuts.
There's a number of drivers that took some big hits. A couple of drivers that might have been able to skirt through with minimal to no damage. The 31 of Collier, he ended up getting spun around after contact with Mike Carroll, but I think he really got much damage. And I also noticed that Blake Warren, he got hooked in the left rear into the grass, courtesy of Rose Henson, but nobody else hit him. So while there are a couple of drivers that may be done for the day or majorly off the pace with the big hits we saw, there are a couple of drivers that were involved that might still be able to continue. Dodged a bullet there.
Yeah, I would say so. And I mean, if and like you said there, Seth, if they don't count being involved as making it ineligible for the lucky dog, that will actually give the free pass to that 283 from what I'm seeing. It's like the 80 is going to be currently the race leader.
I gotta go back and see this. Oh my gosh, Tate Dorsey! Just watched him get through this wreck. Oh my gosh.
A number of good saves there. Dorsey on pit road at the moment. There's Rada still. Yeah, a number of guys retired. 45 just called it quits. 47 is out. 000 Causey has also retired. That is a big bummer right there.
Tough break, obviously, for drivers having their nights come to an early end. I guess the one saving grace in all of it is the fact that it is a special event. There's no points on the line. There's no championship on the line. You know, if we had ended up having this be a regular league race where it's a points accumulation race, then there might be drivers that'd be majorly disappointed getting involved in these incidents, having to take it to the garage early going. But it does give a little bit of consolation, the fact that it is a special event race, that drivers aren't quite as disappointed that they didn't reach the conclusion. But I mean, you know this, Andrew. As soon as you roll off the grid and get ready to take that green flag, the first thought in your mind is, I want to be that first one back to the checkered flag.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I amen to that. I mean, for any of these special events, I'm always personally one to think, all right, let's just keep this car clean. Let's try to get it to the checkered flag. And then if we're in a shot to win it, then we're going to do what we got to do. But the number one priority is getting to the checkered flag to begin with. So that's going to be a big bummer for those guys. Good to see Tristan in chat there as well. Now, Rose Henson, the race leader, number 80, going to look like bring down pit road here. That is going to give the lead to the number 18 of Tyler Mallon, driver who won the race at the charity events for the Builder Series at North Wilkesboro.
Also trying to go coast to coast. Mallon's only led 5 laps. That was his 6th lap lead right there so far in this race. Had that unscheduled pit stop back during the first run. Fell a lap down early. Now fought his way back up here to the front. It's we're not yet halfway. It's been an adventure already for the pole sitter, but might be able to pull off the coast-to-coast pole to win.
Yeah, that would be quite a feat for a race of this length and of this magnitude. So far, I would say the only driver that I've really seen like consistently right around the top 10, if not the very elite, has been this 82. Been doing a great job. But otherwise, I think that everyone has been to the back to the front, to the back to the front at some point or another in the first 75 laps here.
Led the most laps so far, 37 in total. Next behind him would have been Kelly Causey with 19. And then nobody else has led in the double digits. Next highest would be Tyler Stallhood with 9 laps led so far in that X-Side Subaru.
And going to be restarting in the second position. First car on the outside row. With that number 7. See what he's going to be able to do. We got the Tyler and Tyler show up front. And then Squires and Hughes. Followed by Hodge and Grace. Shout out, yeah, to James Hodge here. Doing a solid job of keeping it in a solid position so far. Going to be restarting here in the 5th position. Coming to the green flag, lap 77.
Like we've got 8 drivers back in the garage area. Double check on that. The 92 might have actually gotten back out there. Despite the engine grenading.
Oh my goodness. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, he's still out there. How the heck did they fix that
I see
engine?
him back there.
Okay.
Albeit not really going anywhere in a hurry, but
it still runs.
It's running.
It may not reach minimum speed, but it still runs.
There is power.
Might be hamster power at this point.
I think we just went straight back to yellow. Yeah, we did. Dorsey just went around. No smoke though. Let's see what happened there with number 4. Oh, there it is.
Like the 5 might have bumper grabbed off the 88.
Kind of an awkward spot there. Boink, and started to spin. We have both him and the 4 going to go around.
We know that 88 is off the pace. He was one of the drivers that visited the atmosphere there, the
yeah.
outer space of 3 and 4, but I don't think the 5 realized that, and I think he was going to try and maybe go up the middle 3 wide and just mistimed it.
Yeah, nothing too serious there for either of them, though. I think they both should be pretty okay. Lucky escape there for the 80. Just about got hit, but was able to keep it out of trouble.
Blake Warren did get the lucky dog under the previous caution, and Ryan Adema is going to get the lucky dog under this caution. So we'll have 24 drivers on the lead lap when we go back green.
Well, that'll be some good news there for the Adema fan club. Back under the yellow flag here. Not much really changed up here. Only real difference looks like the 82 and the 25 are going to switch. 98 now going to be in the 5th spot. Also, yeah, credit to that Volkswagen up there, keeping in the top 10 there for Fabio McKay. Currently scored 7th.
Got both the Dodges up inside the top 10. Well, Allen's coming in, and so is Tyler Stallhood. I was going to say before they pitted that we had a Toyota up in the top 10, a Chevy, a few Hondas, a Volkswagen. I think all the manufacturers are represented in the top 10 at that point in time, but now the top 2.
Now we're going to have a Dodge in there.
Top 2 giving up the top 2 positions to come to pit road, and it was a late call to pit lane there for Stallhood. He almost got hooked off the nose of the 82 of Keith Hughes.
Yeah, I don't think that would have gone over too well if that had happened, but everyone else so far looking pretty good, though. Looking like they all stayed out. Pretty much all the front runners here, so that is going to put that 82 back into familiar territory in the lead. And then it's going to be Ken Squires now in 2nd. Ethan Grace, James Hodge, and Fabio McKay up here now in the top 5. And credit to another driver that has gonna at least temporarily get back up into the top 10 after being involved in an incident, and that's Samuel Cruz in the 24.
That little, we believe, internet blip moment that ended up causing a yellow, spun it off a turn 2, but no harm, no foul. Appears to be up to speed still. Joshua Clemens, who I believe was the one that he got into, the 84, he's also now back up inside of the top 10 in that Ally Chevrolet.
Interesting moment there for the 15. Had to come to a stop. It looks like he's going to come up here to reclaim his spot. Albeit slicing a few people. But he'll retake his position. See if anyone takes the pit road here last minute. Greg Irwin's still out there on the track. Gotta notice that number 3. Keeping it going.
I believe the only driver that we saw go up into the catch fence that's out of the race is the 45 of Daniel Rivera. So you have the 88 and the 3. Still continuing
still
on.
Out there?
No, he is out of the race. But I don't think he went into the catch fence though. He ended up
that's right. Yeah,
making heavy contact with one of the drivers that came back down the racetrack. But
I remember him barrel rolling.
Yeah,
pretty hard.
Tide Pods everywhere, strewn in the infield of 1 and 2.
And to clean up some dish cleaner. Don't eat them.
No.
I know they look tasty, but don't eat them.
Do they look tasty though? I've never actually found that argument compelling. I've never actually looked at one and said, that looks like it's delicious. Let me put a little ketchup on it. Nope.
I guess kids? I don't know.
That was 100 years ago when I was a kid. I don't remember what that was like.
You're not that much older than me. Oh boy, what are we gonna have here? 120 laps to go. Seth, we are still 20 laps from halfway.
Yeah, we still haven't gotten the 1 to green. I do have actually an interesting thing that I noticed today. I was perusing through Twitter trying to see if maybe, just maybe being the 20th anniversary, if maybe NASCAR Racing 2003 season would be in the top 30 trending. It wasn't, disappointed. But nonetheless, I came across a tweet where on a podcast, I know I'm going to butcher the name because I actually don't follow the series, but his name is Trayton Lepkovich. He is a driver in the NASCAR Pinty series, drives the number 20 car. And it was interesting because he actually said on his podcast today that NASCAR Racing 2003 season has helped him in racing in real life. And we hear all the time about how iRacing helps drivers. I mean, William Byron has talked about how iRacing helped him in what he's been able to do in the Cup Series. But here we got a driver that was a 2-time winner last season, finished 4th in overall standings in the Pinty Series, and he said that NR 2003 helped him in his racing career because a number of the Canadian circuits that he races on have not yet been scanned and put into the iRacing sim. Since they are available on NR 2003, he actually utilizes that to be able to practice before eventually going to those racetracks. So, it's interesting. You don't think about how this particular sim can influence drivers in the real world and their NASCAR careers. Most of that credit goes to iRacing, but there you go. There's a case where a game that is 20 years old is helping drivers in their career in the NASCAR series.
I mean, when you get right down to it, the developers of this went on to create iRacing.
Right, exactly.
So, I mean, it's all there. It's as realistic as you can get, especially for being 20 years old. And now here we are with the new mod. It's really amazing to see. I even remember, like Seth, I'm sure you remember Patrick Schaefer, someone who was an actual pit crew member for Johnny Sauter.
Ended up getting flipped upside down on pit road after he got run into by somebody. I don't remember who it was. He said that it was that got into him, but yeah.
No, he was on TV, and I raced with someone else who is close friends with a certain Casey Atwood. So.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
I don't know how he would feel about me saying his name on stream, so I'll keep that hush hush for now. But it is cool.
friend of
Just
mine, Dylan Poteet, back in the day, raced with Kyle Lockrow, who has raced in the ARCA series and actually is going to run a couple of races for Young's Motorsports in the Truck Series this season.
very nice. That is awesome, and it's cool to see as we go back to green flag racing here, just what these sims do. And I mean, like, yeah, you could say that this is basically the starter for something like iRacing, but when you see the fandom that's behind it, like, great to see everyone in the chat here and watching. Gotta send a shout out to Sean Whitehill in chat there. Sorry that it ended short for you, man, but still great to see you out there nonetheless. But it's awesome. I mean, heck, I think I see that I've hit about like 37 or 38 people watching at most here so far, which for me is like astronomically high.
Just another sign, though. Air 2003 community is not dead, and I don't think it's going anywhere.
Nope. I mean, heck, just look at tonight. Like right now, or here in probably about the next 30 minutes or so, you're going to have 2 more races going live.
Right.
JTN broadcasting the Lynn Voiles Memorial for Bomb Squad Racing. And then Tarnation TV is going to be streaming for Talladega Nights Steak and Shake series. Or is it Shake and Bake? I can't remember.
Shake and bake. Yeah,
Shake and
don't
bake,
do
yeah.
Steak and Shake. You'll get sued.
Oh yeah, that's but yeah, they're doing their Talladega race. So a lot of stuff to watch here. It's awesome, and I'm sure that they're both going to get pretty healthy fields here, along with the 30 plus that were here tonight. So you're basically going to have almost 100 people racing all at one time in separate servers. I think that shows that this thing is still going strong. And speaking of going strong, I know that he's not keeping up all that well, but look at Greg Irwin.
Yeah, he's got Steve Rada there trying to push him to stay up with that lead pack.
I mean, credit to Rada, but also, I mean, that car is still hitting 200 miles an hour.
And
even
again,
though it
if
went
it's
like
still
40 feet
running,
in the air.
you still stay in it. It's a special event. There's no points. What's the penalty going to be? You might end up having more drivers up ahead of you, have cars that are going to be beat up even worse than yours, and you might be able to salvage a top 10, maybe even a top 5 out of this thing.
I mean, hey, credit to him. He's keeping with it. I mean, he is the head admin, so I guess he feels, well, I gotta make a good example, I guess, and try to stay in my own race. And hey, he's doing a good job of it. He's keeping touch, doing what he's got to do. But then inside lane forming up once again with a familiar face at the front of it, Keith Hughes. Now he's got Tristan Grace behind him. Fabio McKay, excuse me, running in the 3rd position. And the 407 and the 84 are now the top 5.
A little bit of an outside line forming there with Tyler Stallhood, Tyler Mallon, Blake Warren, but I'm honest, gonna be honest with you here, Andrew. Unless they get racy up at the front, with what I've seen so far in these first 85 laps, I'm not seeing much of an opportunity for that outside line to push their way up to the front. They're going to need some kind of chaos to take place up in the top 3, top 4, kind of like what Keith Hughes was able to do when Kelly Causey and the 97 ended up getting together, Welty, and Keith was able to shoot up the middle. Something like that I think is going to happen for that outside line to have a chance. I keep seeing more drivers jumping up there, and while it's great to have the numbers on your side, as we keep talking about, these cars are so darty, it's so difficult to get the bumpers lined up, and that just stalls out any momentum they might have, and they're taking the longer way around the racetrack.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you've got some strong guys up there now. Joshua Clements is up there now. Both the Tylers are back up there. Joseph Landy Pavlon, he's been fast here and looking pretty strong at the moment. And I almost forgot about, Jason Trincher. I have raced with him. I haven't raced with him very often, so I don't know him too well, but I do remember him mentioning that he was a crew member for Colleague. And I was just like, holy crap, this is awesome. I feel like you're racing against celebrities in a way. Whoa, Blake.
Wow.
Holy, what a move.
Power move there. That Kerry Earnhardt throwback. Blake Warren, and Stallhood's going to jump up there with him. Mallon's going to jump up there with him. Oh, there's Ryan Adema on the apron.
That thing is, he's still trying. Give him credit for that. I have not mentioned these speeds at all that we're seeing. We're seeing 204, 205 miles an hour here.
Yeah.
I never really paid attention to that until just now.
you kind of take that speed for granted when you're a driver. It's kind of a fluid movement, basically running the same speed as everybody else around you, give or take a couple miles per hour, depending on what momentum you have. So you really don't take notice of the fact that you're going over 200 miles an hour. But when you're a spectator up here, oh yeah, those numbers jump out at you.
They are flying. I mean, Blake Warren just hit 206 heading into turn 3. And right now, he may have a shot at the lead here after falling out being a lap down. Because that outside lane, Seth, is looking pretty well formed and fairly stable.
They do. They actually, this is the first time tonight. I love how this seems to happen so often that when I bring up a point, the drivers are like, hey, let's prove him wrong. And that's what they're doing right now. They're like, he's talking about no outside line. All right, let's show him that there actually is an outside line here. Because, yeah, Blake Warren's going to get up alongside of Tristan Grace for second. That 98's a little out of shape there down the back straightaway. And I think that's checking up that inside line, allowing that top side to be able to move its way towards the front.
I mean, at the same time, though, that is what it takes in order to get that outside lane to work. You have to be so well formed and so stable and hope that the inside lane is not as stable and formed up. And that's what's got them up there. And now, even though they're still pretty well formed, now that the inside settled down just a little bit, they're already clearing by another 2 car lengths.
Yeah, the big reason why outside line works at super speedways here in 2003 is because on that inside line, oh, we got a car around. 31 just got spun of Collier.
Oh, goodness, he just slammed the inside wall. No caution.
Nope. Yeah, no caution. That spin didn't take place until he was down under the double yellow line. But back to the point I was going to say, that inside line, there's a ton of checkup that takes place because you get a big run on the car in front of you, and that stacks you up. On the outside line, since there is a longer way around the racetrack, there is a little bit more opportunity to stay in the throttle and keep that momentum going. But now we're starting to see a lot of drivers abandon that outside line. Blake Warren's looking behind him and saying, wait a minute, I had about 4 or 5 drivers pushing me. Where'd they all go?
Yeah, those Tylers, they're sticking together, and they're just like, all right, we'll just stick with each other. And now they found a gap on the inside and took it. I think that's Derek Schauer in the chat there. He is not too happy with how his race finished, man. I'm sorry about that, but hey, you're running good, and great seeing you out here. And definitely, as the main season kicks off for, I believe it is called the Contender Series, I want to say. I'm sure that there will be good things coming for you as the season plays out. And now they're trying that outside lane again. Only bringing, looks like, Jeff Purchase with them. And Welty up there as well. And Cade, right? Cade Welty?
Yes. Sorry, I had to scan down my running order here.
Yeah, Joshua Clements there as well. See, it's like I said, I told you it was going to take... I told you it was going to take almost the entire race for me to remember these.
But that's an interesting thing, too, right? I mean, I mentioned this earlier when we were perusing down the names on the grid. There's about 50-60% of the drivers that I recognize I've raced with before. There were another maybe 10-15% that I recognized the names, but then there was the rest of the field that I looked at and didn't recognize the names at all. There are so many different series with so many different drivers involved that race here on this sim that, you know, there's ones that people may not even know actually exist. So, again, for anybody that says that the NR2003 community is dead, that is not the case, because there are leagues, there are series, there are drivers that are constantly racing night after night and very committed to their series as well. Core drivers in all the different series that run on the sim.
Oh, for sure, yeah. And I think of RTG, I think of BSR. Of course, Seth, you got a lot of your deals going, which of course I also, I shouted out Carnation TV and JTN. Check out FRN, by the way, Flatout Racing Network. They do incredible stuff for both NR and iRacing, so make sure you give them a check out. But yeah, it's like I said, the number of guys that still partake in these things. Again, I'm willing to bet that as we hit like 9 o'clock here on the East Coast eventually, right now it's about 8:26 on the East Coast, but once we hit about 9 o'clock, you're going to have 3 races going on simultaneously, and all of them are going to have at least probably 25 guys starting, if
Oh, for
not
sure.
30. So that's almost 100 that you're looking at throughout 3 races all happening at the same time. So yeah, this thing, if anything, I think that's starting to grow back up again. And you even have some guys racing in this now that were born after this game came out.
That's true. That is absolutely true.
And they're doing a good job in their own right. So it's so diverse, so many like different skill levels, different groups of guys, different ages. It is so much fun stuff, and I really cannot be more grateful. Oh goodness, I can't be more
Wow.
grateful to be a part of this. Holy
Hang on to
smoly.
that Volkswagen.
Yeah, Volkswagen got a little iffy there, and that's going to allow this outside to get a run. This time it's Stallhood that's looking to try and take the lead away.
I think we got another driver back in the garage area, Ryan Adema. Trying to log
no.
laps after that engine had gone south. Was still able to run, but his night is over. He's going to finish in the 24th position, and I did check back on the 31 of Ethan Collier. He's still running, still in the lead lap for a moment. Leaders are catching him right now. It was a bad bump off of turn 2 that he got from the 12 of Hashi Baroku that sent him into that inside wall. So unfortunate there, but he is now going to follow a lap down, which would put him in the lucky dog, in which Steve Rada saying, no, don't go a lap down, because he would have been the first car 1 lap down, still sitting at -2, but that now takes him out of the free pass position and puts the 31 into it.
As you say, because now the 86 is up here in this lead draft, which, that's our little subplot of this race, is
It
the
is,
86
right?
versus the 503. Who's
We got
buying
a
lunch?
topside. Dahlhood's clear, I think.
He was there for a moment. He's not going to be
Oh, man.
for now. But yeah, look at this. Ooh, and some warp there from the 98. That's not going to help. What does he turn? Oh, goodness.
Oh,
Hold on,
hang
hold
on
on.
there.
What a save.
That's a tough place to keep it down on the apron there. Through the triable on that flat apron. That was a great job there, my McKay.
Oh, man, I thought that was going to be all kinds of catastrophic. What a job. But again, that inside is broken up, and now I think we're going to see those Tylers probably both get clear. Now the question is, are they going to go down? They're going to try to bring the 5 with them? Yeah, I think all 3 of them are now clear. Oh yeah, easily.
Got a Chevy, pushing a Toyota, pushing a Subaru. That's some interesting alliances. And then you got a Ford right behind them, 4th on that outside line. But yeah, looks like they're going to stay pretty committed to that top line. We'll see just how many in that line they're trying to get clear before they jump down. We know that the Tylers were working with Blake Warren earlier on, so they might be trying to get that 283 clear, 5th car on the outside line before they all jump down to the double yellow.
You got the 97 there as well. Now, I just realized this as well, because we're getting a good ways into this run here. Like when we would be looking for those pit stops, because now I think we might be starting to get into the realm of, might be starting to flirt with some green flag pit stops here soon.
We're getting close. I mean, we ended up going green on the completion of lap 80, so we would still be about 20 laps away from when they'd have to start considering coming to pit road. So about halfway through a fuel run. But yeah, I'll tell you one thing though. When we would get a clear indication of when those pit stops are coming is these drivers here on this top line. If they migrate down to the bottom in the next 5 or so laps, that means that they're planning on having that easy access onto pit lane. They seem pretty committed to the middle line right now, but once you end up getting about maybe 5 laps away from when you're going to make those green flag pit stops, they all migrate down to the bottom.
That is very true, so we'll be keeping an eye out for that. I am surprised that they're still holding this outside, but I guess both the Tylers are feeling pretty good about it. Blake Warren and Keith Hughes both tried to get down there. Hughes went back up, and I think Blake realized, well, I can't go back up there again. It'll look like I'm blocking. So stayed committed to the inside lane. Justin Gray starting to come back forward here to join them with the cars that are clear. Blake Warren now leads the inside lane ahead of Joshua Clements. Now Clements also going to migrate up.
Everybody fighting for the bottom in the first half of this race. Now we cross over the halfway threshold, and Everybody wants the top, but I think that kind of goes back to what we've been seeing so far in this race. The apron, clipping the apron, stalls the momentum on the inside line, and if you can get the bumpers lined up there on the longer way around the racetrack, it generates more speed off the corner and onto the straightaway. And yeah, I guess Tyler Stallhood has donned the Dale Jr. Pied Piper cape because now everybody is running up there on the white hash marks.
They're trying to make it work there. We have, as Seth said, we have hit the hash waypoint.
I was hoping you didn't notice that, but okay.
I had to call you out on it.
Ugh. That's the problem with doing things live.
Yep, we're doing it live, and we are officially past the point of the longest race either participated in or broadcasted that I've ever done. Ever. In my entirety of racing in NR, I think the longest race I've ever done was, like I said, the Talladega event, Seth. And, well, here I am now, and we're past that point. Holy crap.
Gotta credit these drivers, though. I know that we've had 7 yellows here tonight, but bear in mind, that's 7 yellows in 100 laps. That's not really that bad when you consider the fact that we've run as long a distance as we have, and we've also got 23 of our 33 drivers still running, 21 of them on the lead lap. So for the carnage that we've seen in a couple of these wrecks, drivers visiting the catch fence, barrel rolling, these drivers have done a very good job of keeping themselves competitive here in this one. And now I think we're going to start to see the spotlight showing on pit road, though, the closer we get to the end of this race.
Oh, for sure. Absolutely. Let's see. How many cars we got here in the lead draft? I am showing
15, I believe.
Okay, 15. Yep, going back to Rose Henson in the 80. So 15 drivers right now in the lead draft. First car 1 lap down. Currently up at 31. Everyone below that got 24th down to 33rd, who are all out in some capacity or another.
A couple drivers that have lost the draft that I'm not convinced are not up to speed. They may have just lost the draft. James Hodge in the 22 and Josh Mercurio in the 9. So if we were to get a caution, they could get back into this thing. But they're drafting right now with the ARCA winner last night, Bren Ware, and they're about 20 seconds off the tail end of this lead group.
Yeah, I can tell that they're committed to letting that 0-car lead, but like you said, I just think that with the damage he has, I think that's actually hurting them. No offense to Brand, I just think that his car just doesn't quite have the speed for it right now. And look at this, that inside lane starting to come back, led by the 283.
And now the 97 going to jump down there.
Whoa! And Blake initially said no, sir, but okay, fine, there we go.
Again, what we were kind of talking about, that borderline blocking kind of thing. Is it moving down to merge with a line? Is it moving down to block a line's momentum? But yeah, as soon as the 97 jumped down there, then the top 3 decided to jump as well. And Tate Dorsey says, all right, if you guys want the bottom, I'll jump up to the top. And the Volkswagen and McKay is going to jump up there with him.
And then you're going to have Keith Hughes with them as well. We all know how strong he's been so far in this one, but they mired a little ways back at the moment.
Tyler Stallhood, if he completes this lap as the leader, he'll jump to 2nd for most laps led tonight, eclipsing the 19 laps led by Kelly Causey. And he would be still 34 laps short of getting up to the 54 laps Keith Hughes has led tonight. And first time tonight, Andrew, we're going to be starting to talk about traffic, because I saw a group of 2 or 3, I think, just up ahead of the leaders when they were going down the back straightaway.
Yeah, we've got Baroku, Irwin, Carroll, and Rada all up there. Blake Warren's still trying to make something happen there. Gonna not have any help this time. They're going to want to try to settle it down.
In the chat with some good advice. Ride until 20 to go. I don't know if you can ride until 20 to go, especially if you don't have a good green flag pit stop, which getting closer to.
Yeah, we're getting there.
They've got Tarnation TV in the chat. There you go.
They might be in for an interesting moment here. Got lap cars side by side. Irwin settles in line. Whew, man, that was going to be iffy.
Let's see Tarnation TV in the chat. Good luck tonight on the broadcast you guys have coming up.
Yeah, good luck to you guys. JTN was in there earlier. It is so cool to see all you guys here, man. it's as we've been saying, it's a big event, and I'm happy to be doing it. I know that Jeffrey Elliott had messaged me about running tonight. Yeah, sorry I wasn't able to make that one, but Talladega Nights, a heck of a league to race at. Cannot recommend them anymore. Definitely go check them out. Again, message Jeffrey Elliott for info on that on Facebook. I think we just had a caution, and indeed we do.
Yes.
Caution is out, and it is the 12 facing the wrong way off of turn 4.
Might have been the 35, but Mike Carroll also involved.
Still did not quite make it to the green flag pit stops here. Yep, as they were getting lapped.
I was trying to run high, be respectful of the lead lap cars, and just ran a little too
Ooh.
high. And yeah, these are the safer barriers that if you brush them, they hug you. They don't want to let you go. They're very caring, safer barriers. And
Yeah.
yeah, they gave a big bear hug to the 12, and yeah, they didn't want him to. They didn't want him to go away, but he popped out
No.
into the 35, and Tate Dorsey in the 4 got a piece of that too.
Yeah, Tate Dorsey being on the lead lap. I saw Irwin try to kind of file in line, and I don't think quite realized that he wasn't all the way clear yet. And then, yeah, the 12 just bad spot. Trying to be courteous, but end up biting them there a little bit. I mean, I've been there. I've done that many a time.
But the timing of that caution, Greg Irwin is going to get the free pass.
Wow, fancy that. After being airborne, no pun intended.
Oh, I meant the pun. I 100% meant the pun. You might not have. Like
Well,
Mike Carroll's day
you
is
know what?
done.
I
That's a
take it
tough
back.
break there.
Pun fully intended. And now we've got everybody on pit road here.
Now we're going to have the kind of race within the race. We're going to have a couple of drivers off the lead lap when we go back green. Baraku and Collier. Irwin getting the free pass, so we'll have 19 drivers on the lead lap, and a tough break there for the 35 of Mike Carroll involved. Made it to the halfway point, but like he is done for the evening and will finish in 23rd position.
Yeah, still got a few guys dropping here, but 5 cars are going to lead them off of pit road.
That was our longest green flag run of the day. And I was kind of curious, the 5 getting off of pit road ahead of the 18 and the 7, what kind of strategy he might have done. He went with left side tires only.
I did see Malin go for 4 tires, which I was actually a little surprised at, but I guess if you got that much fuel to put in the tank, you might as well just use full advantage of the time that you're just sitting there.
Tires are free, so take as many as you want.
Yeah, go at it. I'm almost certain that this league does not have a tire limit. Some do, I know that, but pretty sure this one does not.
The 3 of Steve Rada staying out here. We'll see if he comes to pit road this time, being a lap machine, but I almost wonder... No, there's no way he'd go for a wave around with how long a green flag run we just had.
I would doubt it.
Yeah, he's gonna be coming to pit road this time, I think.
If not this time, then definitely next. Here comes Irwin with him. And yep, there they go. Still trying to beat that 86. We are at 90 to go now behind the pace car. I think that since we are just past the halfway point here, I think that this actually might be an okay time to take just a little break here. We're going to use the laboratory. So we'll be right back here, and we'll bring you the rest of this coverage to the finish. Thank you everyone for being here, and we'll be right back. Alright, and I am back.
Okay.
Yeah, I figured take advantage of one of these cautions at some point or another.
Yep.
But looks like perfect timing. Right back to 1 degree here. Yes, thank you, Blaine, for that one. The Summit Racing Chevy up here in the lead. Jeff Perchask, which I hope that he doesn't get a top 3 because then he'll come in here and he'll say, "Yeah, you've been mispronouncing my name this whole time."
Well, you got Perchas. I got Perchatsky. So maybe in there we've got it right. Maybe we're both wrong.
Yeah, me. I'm doing my best, guys. I promise. And then you got the Tylers second and third. TTU's up in fourth. Let's see. Seth, I'll go ahead and ask you since we're a little ways past halfway. With what you've been seeing so far, is there anyone that you've got your money on being the favorite as the rest of this race plays out?
You know, it's difficult to call because I still feel we're going to end up having at least one round of green flag pit stops, and I feel whoever executes that green flag pit stop is good. That's going to be the difference maker. But right now, if I'm looking at drivers that have been consistently up here at the front, there are 5 that have really caught my eye. Obviously, Keith Hughes working his way back up here inside the top 5 now after he got shuffled out. He's led the most laps. Tyler Stallhood's been out in front for a good portion of this race. Mallon started at the front, had to work his way back up to the front. He's second on this restart. I also have been very impressed by the 97 of Cade Welty and the 98 of Tristan Grace. They've not been out in front yet, really, under green flag conditions, but they've been consistently inside of the top 5 pretty much the entirety of the evening.
Yeah, I'll be keeping my eyes on them too. I think my personal opinion is going to come down to if they keep it clean for the rest of this race, it's going to come down to one of these 2 Tylers. That's what I'm going to say for now. But of course, just going to have to wait and find out. I also wouldn't be surprised if we see that number 84 get back up into contention here, Joshua Clements. Been looking pretty strong as well as we are back to racing here, and Mallon using that outside to his advantage. Fancy that. Going to take the lead here. Currently clear, just barely clear is the 82. Don't know if they're going to want to cut down quite yet as the 15 getting a little squirrely into the wall, but they keep it straight. 18 and 82 cutting down to the inside to try to fend off that 5.
Boy, these cars all of a sudden, they're getting slidey as well as darty. The 5 was a little out of shape. The 407 was a little out of shape. They're all trying to slice and dice, figure out which line they want to be in here. Down the back straightaway into 3. It's like the 1882, as soon as they got cleared, they've now jumped down to the inside line.
And everyone has followed suit thus far. We now the 407 and the 80 that are currently hung out. Everyone else is trying to kind of sort their P's and Q's at this moment. I will say, Blake Warren has been probably one of the more aggressive drivers that we've been seeing. Not afraid to try to make a move, even if it's going to be to his detriment. So that 287 or 283, excuse me, might also be someone to look out for as this race plays out. Should he keep
Remember,
it up
I mentioned that there were a couple of drivers that had won some of the events this week, the dual races and whatnot, the ARCA race last night. Well, Blake Warren took a checkered flag this week, winning the LCQ to lock himself into the field. So it's another driver that is very comfortable with what his car is able to do and could be a player here in the closing stages of this race, having been there before with that LCQ checkered flag.
That is very true, and just like mentioned there, trying to make a move happen there. Cuts right in front of the 24. Also credit to Sam Cruz being back up here after getting into some trouble. A lot of guys have been in trouble and yet not really showing that they've been in trouble. They're still up here doing pretty darn good.
Yeah, is there anybody in the field that hasn't been in trouble? I know that the 82 I don't think's been involved in anything. Don't think the 98's been involved in a wreck.
I don't think that Mallon. Oh goodness!
Oh
15.
wow, little boot scooting boogie there for the 6th place car.
Looks like that's
That's
subbed
not
now.
blocking people, just in case you were wondering. He wasn't blocking 3 lanes. That's internet-based.
No, his internet is blocking them, which I'm pretty sure the admins are very forgiving of. We got 17 cars here, I believe, in this draft now. Going back to the 15. And then a little further back, yeah, there's Josh Mercurio still. I don't recall him getting that much damage, but he's been losing the pack fairly consistently.
I know he was involved in one of the wrecks in like the first 20 laps or so that looked like pretty good contact, but
Okay.
he appeared after that to still be up to speed. I don't know if he was involved in any of the follow-up wrecks, maybe the big one we had over there in 1 and 2. I'm not certain, but it appears that he is either off the pace by himself, needs a car to maybe push him, or maybe it is just that the fact is that the car is a little bit further down on power. And like Warren, he keeps trying to make that outside line work. Nobody wants to go up there with him, and subsequently he's now dropped back the tail end of this pack in the 17th position. But that caution was a saving grace for a number of different drivers that were quite a ways back, including the 0 of Bren Ware and the 22 of James Hodge. Now they're up here in this lead group once again.
That's true, and Hodge is trying to keep Bren Ware up there. It still just looks like Bren just does not quite have the car ever since that first wreck to be able to get up there. He's able to maintain it somewhat, but like if he even has to check up a little bit, trying to get that momentum back is almost impossible.
The only reason that he's staying up here at the back of the 407 is the checkup that's taking place ahead on this inside line. Yeah, that car, that 0, does not have the speed to be able to suck up to the back of the car in front of him. The only reason that he's right now being able to hold the position he's at, it appears that Tate Dorsey's pretty committed to pushing him. If the 4 steps out to that outside line and everybody goes with him, it's going to be like a parachute came out of the back of the 0, and he's going to fall back not only to the tail end of the lead pack, but probably would lose this lead pack.
Most likely so, if he were to end up in the spot that Blake Warren got into, which still trying to make something happen up there to get by the 80. Yeah, just kind of looking right now. Wonder if maybe testing the waters for the last part of this race. We are coming to 80 laps to go. We are finally to a point now where it's a race length that probably everyone is used to. And
when we cross the threshold with the next 5 laps or so, we would be at the point where everybody can make it the rest of the way on one more pit stop.
That is true, yeah. Because with it being on 1X, yeah, they don't have too much further to go before they would be able to pull that off. And everyone right now just keeping it to that inside. Looks like Clement's going to peak. Not going to be able to make that work.
Testing the water, seeing if anybody's going to jump up there with him. That was a negative, so he jumps back down to the inside. And you can see that they're not really bunched up nose to tail right now. There's some pretty good space being given, so you have the room to experiment with runs like that and not lose positions as a result. You can tuck right back in line. But this is also, people are looking at this saying, well, now they're riding around. That doesn't mean that something might not happen to bring out a caution, because when they're all bunched up together on the inside line like this, there's more opportunity for bumper grab, there's more opportunity for checkups, and so we may not be out of the woods yet of seeing the 9th caution of the day fly, despite the fact it looks relatively tame all the way through this lead pack.
I mean, remember that last caution came out solely, I think, pretty much solely because of once they caught lap traffic.
Right.
And then that kind of got a little dicey. So I think if they catch that slower pack again, which I'm sure they will at some point or another here, then that could get a little scary. Looks like they may even catch Greg Irwin by himself, because he's just about to lose that line. As Clement's still just going up high and trying it, but as long as that gap between the 98 and 24 stays, he's going to keep jumping back down there. Bren Ware still keeping up there. My goodness, look at 407 just hit 208 going down the straightaway.
Matter of fact, that 407 actually has the fastest lap of the race, 43.5 NR2003, which clocks in at 206.939 miles per hour, almost 207 for an entire lap.
Oof, golly. That is unreal. I mean, it's like I said at the beginning of this race. The weather conditions, as you can tell by the fact that it's darker, is there? Oh, 98, a little shimmy. But it's set to cloudy weather conditions, which I swear you might as well increase the horsepower by like 30 in this game whenever you do that. And the fact that the weather condition has been set to 40 degrees, so these things are making a ton of power.
That's actually a good point. I didn't really think about the fact of the weather conditions. That could also be a reason why we ended up having a lot of the grip flips we had in the early going of this race. It may not necessarily be the setup or the track itself, it may just be the fact that there's a lot more added grip because of the weather conditions.
Oh boy, that's getting a little iffy.
Yeah, that 98's been having some connection problems the entirety of the night, specifically on restarts, but it's only been like a blink here and a blink there. This is about the worst that we've seen that Honda warping side to side, and but that's tough when you end up having that happen in the second half of the race. If you're going to have issues, you'd rather it be in the first half of the race so you have more time to be able to mount a bit of a comeback, but hopefully that connection will stay stable and he'll be able to continue to remain up inside the top 10. Like I said, for the most part, has stayed no lower than 6th or 7th place the entirety of this race.
75 laps to go here.
Whoa, we got a car in the grass. Is that
Pavlon, I believe
Pavlon?
that is.
And the 15 is around as well. And he's come up into the wall. The Volkswagen and McKay coming to a stop. There's going to be oncoming
So
traffic. They're going
that's
to have
going
to
to be
throw
a
a yellow.
caution.
Look out.
That is definitely going to be the yellow. That's a little... That is really sketchy there, and he's still sitting.
I don't know why you'd be sitting on the racetrack. Unless, oh boy, I think we might have had another game minimize or something, Andrew. This is looking eerie similar to what we've seen so far for a couple of drivers tonight. That thing just went straight up to the wall through the tri-oval.
Yeah, that would definitely... that would explain a few things. Let's have a look here. Yeah, I was just about to mention that Pavlon was trying to make a move. And, oh, yep, went right up the track. Got into him.
Aaron from the
Actually,
15, he lost control of his wheel.
Still find that odd that he stopped in that case. Unless that
Well,
was
remember
him, like...
too, you're in control usually of your pedals, but you're not in control of being able to steer. So more than likely was habitually on the brakes trying to slow that thing down. When he hit the inside wall, it changed the trajectory of the car and sent it back up the racetrack and bounced off the outside wall and sat in the middle of the exit of the tri-oval.
Probably so. Great job there, right? Rose Henson to keep it clean on that one.
Avalon got very lucky too. Clipped the grass, not a lot of grip there. That was a save. He wasn't actually trying to run the Rolex 24 road course configuration.
No.
he was headed for it. But yeah, great saves there by both the 86 and the 80. Not making that any worse than what it was.
And back to the live shot here. Looks like everybody's going to come down pit road here.
15's still stuck on the exit of the tri-oval there. Oh, now finally going to be able to get set to pit road.
Got the toe, I believe. So let's see. We're going to be at about 73 to go here. Everybody's pitting. So yeah, you're definitely looking at one more stop from here.
I was watching the race within the race of the two drivers that were nose to tail battling for the free pass. Hashi Baroku was able to keep Ethan Collier in the rearview mirror, and the 12 will get the free pass under this, the 9th caution of the evening.
Alrighty. Let's see, some good news there for Hashi. Yeah, I'm still trying to keep all these first names straight in my head. It's proving to be difficult. Oh, something interesting to note here. I do believe that, yep, Hashi just pitted there and pretty much just sped out of pit road, so we're going to get the EOL. Tyler Mellon came back out in front of everybody.
went about 10 laps, I think, under that run. 10 to 12 laps under that run. Gotta wonder at some point, do Steve Rada, Greg Irwin, do they elect to maybe take the wave around here and bank on a caution, saving them? Because it seems like for both of those drivers, every time they get up into a free pass position, somebody else ends up getting lapped. And at some point, you've got to kind of make an opportunity for yourself to get back into this thing. So I don't think they'll take the wave around here, but if we were to get like another quick yellow and everybody comes down pit road and they're ahead of the leaders, I almost think you'd almost be obligated to take that wave around option because we don't know how many. There you go. Yeah, Greg Irwin's going to stay out.
Yeah,
So
Greg's going to take it. Rada is not. I just
yeah, I
realized it.
like this call on Greg Irwin, to be honest, because as the laps tick down, every lap that ticks away is one less lap that you're going to be able to utilize in your favor to get back into contention. Now granted, the 3 is off the pace. It's very unlikely he'll win this race, but you know, if you've got a car that's off the pace and you come away with a top 10 finish, I mean, that's an amazing comeback on the evening. So I think that's what Greg Irwin might be thinking about right now. Actually, Greg's on the lead lap in the 3. Hold on.
He should be, I think he'd be on the tail end of the lead lap since he's ahead of Malin at the moment. Oh,
They
wait,
got him
he
scored
is.
as the leader. Wait, oh, that's right. Greg got the lucky dog under the last caution. I'd forgotten about that. I thought he was a lap down,
Oh.
so yeah.
Oh, that's right.
He'll
Yeah,
probably
that was
pit
weird
at 1
because
to
I was
green here, but
I was
he'll
looking
get a
at
lap
scoring.
led.
I was looking at scoring. I could have sworn that I saw him a lap down. So
I
that
thought
was
he
my
was
fault.
too. The reason I thought he was a lap down because he was back in the group with Collier, Baroku, and Rada, but no, he was actually on the tail end of the lead lap. So there you go.
So perhaps a lady lap, as it were, for number
Could
3.
be. Being told by our chat that the race isn't showing. Oh yeah, we got the logo showing.
Is showing now.
I think we're good now.
The problem with hotkeys. Sorry, guys. I did that during and Seth, I think you were also there for that one. I think it was you, me, and Blake Warren calling an Atlanta race for IMRC, and I decided, and I had the great idea of having like a mute button for myself so that like if I had to cough or something.
Oh, I do remember that. Yeah.
And then I didn't turn it back on.
Yep. I do recall that. There was yeah, we were talking to a ghost apparently.
Yeah, you and Blake did a great job. Let me tell you what.
Yes, Dave. That was the radio feed. You got the commentary of a riveting pace lap led by Greg Irwin.
Yeah. Oh man. Thank you for saying something there. Yep. Of course, chat. Anytime that the stream, yeah, if that happens or is getting laggy or something else looks off, always feel free to point it out.
Update on the 15, Fabia McKay. Like the day is done for that car. Gonna finish in 22nd. So we got 21 drivers still soldiering it out, and we're gonna have 19 of them on the lead lap when we go back green here. Gonna be 70 to go.
70 to go. Allie, I did not know that I did that. Which race? Because now I'm worried. Is everyone's
I mean,
gonna
they're addressing you by name in the chat, so you know that they're able to at least hear you in this one.
I mean, they could at least hear me. I'd as well make sure that everything can be seen. As we are 3 wide with the pace car at the moment.
Yeah, are we doing a dirt track for the fans lap here or something? Brett's looking around like, what's going on?
No. For 20 years of NR2003, you gotta go 20 wide, right?
There you go. Don't think Daytona can fit them that way, but
down the backstretch.
Yeah, that's actually true. Let's see, we got 21 cars still in the field. There you go. Yeah, we can still do it.
Yeah, there we go. And then that would leave who's last? Yeah, Steve Rada can pace them. How about that?
I mean, well, if you think about it, Steve could go into the infield and he could run the lane that's just below the safer barrier there on the backstretch.
Oh yeah.
Of course, you'd have to make sure you don't go too far down because then you'd sink into the bottom of Lake Lloyd.
Yeah, I don't think that you'd want that. I can't remember the driver who actually flipped into Lake Lloyd. I remember the clip. I can't remember who it was. But regardless of the case, I
I
don't think
can't
any of
help
these
you. I
drivers
don't recall that.
are going to end up there. I do know that that Tyler's have ended up back at the front here and back nose to tail here. Keith Hughes there in third place. And there's Cade Welty once again, still just lurking, really solidly running in that 97. The Kurt Busch throwback machine.
I don't recall if that's the scheme that Kurt ended up winning the championship in 2004 or not, or if he ended up running that the following year. But you know, there were a lot of showcasing of these schemes in the Discord
Whoa.
showroom, and this 97 was one of them. And well, you may be able to see it here on the broadcast, but if you look really close, that is not just a black and gold scheme. That is actually a kind of color chrome gold on there. It's got
Oh,
the
goodness.
dark to light fade. Speaking of fading,
98 has faded
98.
from
Where did you go?
existence. Oh, I hope he keeps it on the apron. Should he come back?
Whoa, he's back.
Oh, he's spinning. I saw the dust.
No, he's back. Oh,
Oh,
he's on the
goodness.
apron.
He just got into the 9.
Mercurio saves it. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, shout out to Mercurio being back up in this lead pack.
It only took a car warping into him for us to notice
Wow.
to look at it. Oh my gosh.
I don't think I would have noticed that if it wasn't for that, but yeah, I would be probably thinking about sending that 98 away from the pack at the moment.
It looks like he's okay. Looks like it's settled out, but it's moved him from what was, I think, about 6th or 7th on that restart, now all the way back to, I think he's 17th now, trying to work his way back up into the top 15. The furthest back he's been all day long.
Yeah, he's been running solid, despite all that. Dave Stacy, that's who it was. Okay, ended up in Lake Lloyd. Thank you, Allie.
I hope he had scuba gear in his car.
Yeah, yeah, that would be advisable. Like one of those rally. Whoa, goodness! I just saw Bren Ware get a little squirrely.
Yeah,
I feel like
forced
he's
his way down in the inside line is what Brent just did right there.
I feel like he's trying to keep up with the lead pack, but he's inadvertently putting the guys behind him in a bit of jeopardy.
It's desperation for sure, but at the same time, Daytona's got the 3 lanes, so those guys behind him don't have to stay in line with him. They can jump up to the second groove and pass him on the outside. They're making the choice to ride behind him, so...
You see, right now it's Rada that's trying to push him. But going back to Mercurio, though, he is up in 9th place after being away from this lead pack for quite some time.
So, remember, we talked about it at the top of the broadcast. Joshua Mercurio and Camby Edward were replacement drivers. They were drivers that had actually missed out on the 500, but due to other drivers not being able to make it that were locked in, they became the replacement drivers, and they've done a heck of a job here tonight. Mercurio up here, as you mentioned, inside the top 10. The 407 of Camby Edward right now back in the 13th position, but he was up inside the top 5 the last 20, 30 laps or so. So they've both been doing a great job with the opportunity given here this evening. We're not originally slated to be a part of this grid.
That's very true, yeah. I mean, we've got those 13 cars up there for the lead draft now. Bren Ware still trying to be pushed, but that whole pack behind him is going to end up losing out, including Joseph Landy Pavlon, another one of those stronger cars, and Rose Henson, Tate Dorsey, all lead lap cars that are going to end up losing that draft. So now they're going to be open for yet another yellow to try to get back up there. We have 65 laps to go. Front starting to look pretty tame. I was going to mention, though, that Jeff Perchask has still been having a hard time keeping that car steady. It's been moving around a ton.
No, he's not been the only one. There's been a lot of drivers that have been pretty unsteady on that inside line, been clipping that apron, that double yellow line through the corners.
Yeah, but even on those last couple laps there, the 5, he had all 4 tires down there at certain points. So don't know if he was maybe just making sure that he was all set for that last pit stop, which again I know that I've been there more than once. But still looking strong here. Currently running in P5. So we got Joshua Clements there. I think that the guys like the 5, the 84, 24, 97, I would say that those are like the dark horses that could have a good chance to win this thing.
Woo! 98's on the apron.
Jeez.
Tri-oval. Yikes.
Ooh, don't know if that was another warp moment or not.
Not sure. That almost looked more like just a little too much driving input going into that tri-oval, and he was very lucky Blake Warren backed off for him because Blake had a big run.
Yeah, good job by those two red cars there behind him. Was it Caden Edward? I'm sorry.
Canby.
Canby. All right. Yeah, Canby Edward bailing out a line there. And then also James Hodge, but they should be able to still keep with the pack here. And correct me if I'm wrong. Yeah, that's 22 now with the new fastest lap. Golly, oh,
Oh, there
jeez!
we go.
That just warped it right into Blake Warren there, didn't he?
Come back up. Yeah, he did. He actually was all the way down almost to the inside safer barrier off the tri-oval was the 98, and yeah, Blake paid the price for that, slapped the outside wall, and he's got some right side damage. Pretty visible right side damage on that Supercut Chevrolet, and he might lose the lead pack. No caution, nobody spun. They all kept it together in the right direction, but, oof.
Yeah, we'll have a quick look. Yeah, oh man, just a quick glance, just a glancing blow from a car that just went half a mile across the screen. Holy cow.
And that's going to be interesting if we get later on in this race to maybe some late race restarts with that 98, because there comes a point where if you're having connection problems, the admins basically say, you know, at your own risk, get up here and race. But if you've been having internet connection problems, you need to be aware of that. And if the 98 is able to be up there at the front battling for the lead, you certainly wouldn't want the internet gremlins to possibly wreck a bunch of drivers that have been consistently at the front of the field here tonight.
Yeah, just you got one of them, that being Blake, and I think that may have also cost James Hodge the draft. Can't see that. Looks like Landy Pavlon, Henson, Dorsey are now going to pick up Warren along with Collier. And they are probably also going to pick up the 22 here. So they are probably now going to do their best to push with every bit of might that they have to try to catch this lead draft, which is now down to only 11 cars.
They're about to catch the 3 of Greg Irwin, who is very much so off the pace. They've got about 2/3 of a straightaway before they'll reel him in.
Now, I don't know if I just heard something or if that was a lag or what that was, but I swear I just heard the 82 clutch for a brief second.
I think you're right. I actually just saw him there through the tri-oval throw in the clutch.
Wow. So does that mean that they're actually going to be that iffy on making it on one more stop?
It could be. Yes, I just saw it right there again. When you see the front splitter of a car kind of bogged down into the racing surface, that's them throwing in the clutch, shutting off the engine. They may be very close, because remember, we went back green with 70 laps to go. Now, I had it pegged around roughly 38 to 40 laps on a tank of fuel, but that was when we ended up having a full field, and you know, the pace was not quite as fast because we were double wide with the different lanes stalling each other out. Now we're in a single file formation with less cars. You mentioned only 11 up in this lead pack. So that means that that fuel number, how far they can go, it's going to shrink a bit. So it may be down as far as them making it about 35 laps, which would mean they'd be right on the cusp, right on the border of making it on one more pit stop.
And if that's the case, you know who's suffering the most from this?
It's
that 18, yep.
Big time.
Like, that's why I think the 97 is laying as far back as he is, probably just half throttling it. Yep, I just saw the 82 throw the clutch.
Yeah, I'm sure there's communication right now with Keith Hughes back to Cade Welty saying, hey, I'm clutching going into these corners. Please do not run me over.
And Welty is definitely giving him plenty of room and probably, as a result, saving some fuel of his own. And
I don't see anybody else clutching. That's the funny thing. You know, you would think other drivers would be taking notice of what Keith is doing and clutching themselves, but I've yet to really see anybody else, it appears, throwing in the clutch going into these corners. He's the only one.
Maybe just trying to get that extra lap out of it for some insurance, or trying to go an extra lap to not pit with everybody at the same time?
Could be.
Could be a few different strategy plays. Yep, I think he just did it again. Man, this is interesting.
It's really cool when you end up looking at our top three. We're about to get it onto lap 145, and of the top three drivers right now, they have led a combined 115 laps of this race.
Man. And I bet you that the vast majority of the rest were Causey.
Yeah, 19 for Causey, and then there was 4 for Chusky, there were 3 for Greg Irwin, 1 for Rose Henson, 1 for Cade Welty. And for most of those drivers, the laps that they led were under caution period, under pacing period.
Yeah, so they just got that lady lap and just a little thank you very much kind of deal. But with them running this way and possible fuel question marks being
Yeah,
thrown out
I
there.
don't dare talk about green flag pit stops because every time I do, they end up having a caution that messes it all up. We got so close that last time.
This is yeah, going to be a little. It's going to be dicey for sure. I mean, 55 to go. Holy smokes, Seth! We are just about to the 3/4 mark of this race.
We are, and I'll say it once. That's the only time I'll say it. We would end up having possibly the final round of pit stops on lap 160. That's all I'm saying, so I don't jinx it.
I like the call. Yeah, what lap did we go green there? Remind me again.
130, 70 to go.
130 with 70. Okay.
So actually, more theoretically, 165 would be actually where they'd be looking to pit to split the thing in half.
Well, they split it in half, but yeah, like you said, that's going to bring them pretty close to that iffy window as they are catching the 12. Big 12 is going to keep it to the high side there, no problem. But yeah, they've been catching the single car groups now instead of catching all 4 at once, so I think that's going to help them out quite significantly.
Yeah, there's only right now a 2-car tandem with Steve Rada and Ethan Collier. Everybody else is all spaced out, as you said, single file. Bren Ware's by his lonesome, the 12 by his lonesome. I believe Tate Dorsey's actually running all by himself in that, where is he, 16th position. Greg Irwin's all by himself, so there's really only, as far as the slower machines, there's only a pack of 2. Everyone else is all by themselves.
And then I was just checking on that second pack to see if they were gaining any ground, and I think they're going to be losing some because Landy Pavlon also just blanked out for a second. There's some unhappy internet in this race at the moment. We'll also, again, just take this opportunity to thank everyone who has been tuning in so far. If you're tuning in from the oh-so-very freezing cold New England area, just stay warm and hope everyone is safe. And hope that everyone is, of course, having a good time here tonight. Coming to 52 laps to go. It's the Tyler and Tyler show at the front still. The pole sitter, Malin, leading this thing after this many laps in.
I'm in New York. I'm not a New Englander, so I don't classify as a New Englander, but still, I haven't set foot outside my door for the last 2 days. I refuse.
I don't blame you.
Oh, my gosh.
From what I heard, apparently some folks in Massachusetts, it's even gotten so cold, they lost power. So
I believe it, yeah.
Now, it's something else that I can't help but notice here. These front 3 aren't really pushing each other, and yet not only did that gap between the 82 and the 97 stay about the same, it actually increased for a little bit there. So
I believe that's actually the 97 saving fuel, but not necessarily clutching. I think he's half throttling going into the corner.
I agree. I'm just surprised that he's doing it to the degree that he is and that he's not getting his bumper ripped off for it.
Not getting run over? Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, maybe the other drivers behind him as well might be half throttling. But, yeah, I think you're right. I think that 97 is in fuel save mode right now as well. Otherwise, we would have definitely seen him draft up to the back of Keith Hughes, but that gap is pretty well maintained.
Yeah, so I gotta think that they're trying to stretch this fuel window here. We are officially at 50 to go, so if we are going to make it to that safety window of the fuel window, you're going to be looking at about another 15 laps. Hopefully more, if you want some insurance in order to try to make it to the finish here.
Oh, we got a caution.
And yellow is out. I had to say it, and
The
it looks like
22 of Hodge, and we are not going to be able to make it on this pit stop. We got
no,
another
sir.
pit stop before the end of this race. Oh gosh, that
Oh,
22 hit hard into the inside wall.
off the corner there, they're all pushing.
That's bumper grab.
And oh yeah, 80 bumper grabbed, and bang! Oh man, I was gonna say I saw that rear end looked a little tore up, but man, that was a heck of a hit. All four tires came off the pavement. And of course the 80 also getting into trouble.
Like Warren just narrowly avoided that.
Actually, you know who this is going to help? Is that 283 going to be
Absolutely.
back up in a better spot now?
Well, if for no other reason, he's going to
Whoa.
get to come down pit road and repair that right side damage as well, which I'm sure must have been hurting him aerodynamically on that run.
Oh, no doubt. No doubt about it. As we also saw the 80 just about go air catch fence bound. Ooh, man. Well, I wouldn't say money stop, but this could be pretty significant as far as who comes out where.
Yeah, it's the pit stop that's going to set up the pit stop, right?
Yeah,
In terms
exactly.
of where you're going to be in track position for that final pit stop.
Exactamundo.
Here's the tough thing though that I'm trying to figure out in my head, and that would be we're gonna have everybody on pit road here. I have no doubt of that. Nobody's gonna stay out. If we end up getting another caution in say the next 10 laps, you come to pit road then, and that's your final pit stop of the day, or do you wait a little bit longer before you make that final pit stop?
Oh boy, I think you gotta at least get it to lap 160 or
Yeah.
within lap 160. If you come in before that, you're gonna be in a tough spot. So I think that is going to be the window to do it. If the caution comes out before that, just stay out. And if anyone does try to pull that strategy, then, which Seth, I'm sure you would, but, but I just couldn't see it, not without losing the draft in order to save fuel.
Looking like Bren Ware could be the recipient of the free pass here. 22 of James Hodge, I think. Right now he's being scored a lap down, but he crossed the start-finish line to receive the yellow flag before the leaders came around and lapped him, I think. Look, he should, I believe, be on the lead lap, but right now he is scored -1 in the 20th position, so we'll follow up on that.
Yeah, wait and see what we get here. I'm going to send a shout out here to Dave Grubb. Holy cow. Yep, grocery stores had to close because their fridge and freezers all broke down and wasted all that food, and the wind chill was reported as about -40.
Oh, I believe it.
Man. May have seen a polar bear outside. Yeah,
I
it
believe
got a
that
little
too. I mean, I ended up
confused.
seeing somebody posted today that a picture of an alligator in a tree. So I mean, you find things in the darndest places.
Hey, again, just hoping that everyone's safe and keeping warm, and yep, just hang in there. From what I see, it'll be brief. Like heck, tomorrow it's supposed to get up to 50 here in Pennsylvania after being just barely 20. So,
I'd send in some of that 50-degree weather up a little bit further north.
I wish. I'll try. See what I can do. Ooh, drink of water here. Seth, what have you been thinking about this so far?
So as of right now, I've basically been looking at drivers that have fit the same criteria we talked about at the top of the show, and that's survive. Make sure that you've got your car in one piece because You can't win the race in the early going, but you can certainly lose it. And right now, as I'm looking at the drivers we got up right now in the top 10, maybe as far back as the top 13, these are drivers that have certainly done that. You asked me before who were the guys I was looking at that could possibly win this race. Now, I gave the drivers that were they're kind of to the forefront of our screen most of the night, but to be honest, when you take a look at that pan shot down the back straightaway, every single one of the drivers in that shot have an opportunity of winning this race. You've got to stay in it to be able to win it, and I've been very impressed still, even though the fact we've ended up having 10 cautions so far here tonight. But again, it's a 200 lap race. It's not like it's 10 cautions in the span of a 70 lap race. The fact that they've been able to have these long green flag runs, we're starting to have pit strategy come into play. This is shaping up to be a really interesting finish, and you never know what you're going to get at a super speedway race. And tonight's certainly fitting that as well.
Yeah, I give these guys a lot of credit for hanging in there. I'm sure that a lot of them are like, they're just from gripping the wheel and need to make sure they keep it clean. I'm sure that they're going to be sore
Yeah,
after this one.
I think we need some icy hots to send out to these drivers
I,
afterwards.
I would say so. Have them
Someone in our
stop.
comments earlier said that he hopes that they all have comfy office chairs. I echo that.
Yeah, I have it lucky right now that, and I've always been racing this way, that I'm just propped up on some pillows on my bed right now on this trusty little laptop connected with an Ethernet cable, and OBS is doing its thing, and my laptop is probably screaming at me like, why are you still streaming? Because I think it crashed actually at the very beginning, but it came back, so I guess we're good, and I haven't had any trouble since that I can tell.
You see, your laptop did the exact same thing what I was talking about with the drivers. If you crash early, you got plenty of race to be able to make it back up.
That's exactly it. The Tylers still on the front row here. Malin has elected the outside lane this time.
Ooh, are we maybe gonna be adopting the Joey Logano strategy of the okie dokie?
If that is the case, then I don't think that Keith Hughes is gonna let that happen very easily.
He's gonna shove the heck out of that 7. Whoa! 5 car,
Oh!
what happened there?
Oh goodness, he's gonna flip it! Oh no!
Wow.
And yeah, he just rolled like twice.
What just happened? It was like he accelerated for a brief moment, got into the back of Malin.
Now, I bet you he just wheel spun because I saw that happen to the 35 earlier when he tried to get back going. Whew, goodness.
And I don't mean to make light of a bad situation there, but the underskirt of the spoiler, I don't think we were supposed to see that here tonight, but with that barrel roll, the 5 has the text Rutrow underneath the spoiler of his car. That is amazing. I don't think we were supposed to see that. But we did.
No. But yeah, he knew that if that happened, we'd have a show. Caution was extended as a result of that.
Who all got pieces of that? Looks like Joshua Mercurio, Ken Squires, Cade Welty,
Pete Dorsey, I think, just came back down Pit Road.
Camby Edward also was involved.
The
Justin
5
Grace
is...
got a piece.
Oh, Throttle's stuck on his rig.
Oh, wow.
Really? Oh, man. Now,
these endurance races, they take a toll on the drivers, but they take a toll on the equipment as well.
Yeah, that's going to be a killer. So now these guys are going to have to swap their positions behind the leaders.
There we go.
Getting all squared away there. Now, oh man, now Seth, I'm sure you don't have this problem because you have a keyboard, but but could you just imagine, like, the thought of if what Derek just said in chat there is correct, if you're having a sticky throttle at this point in the race?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, I run a keyboard. I don't know a whole lot about profilers for steering wheels and everything, but I would have to think that I don't know if you would necessarily have to reset your profiler, but you would certainly have to do something to make sure that that throttle wasn't sticking anymore. I don't know all the ins and outs of what you have to do for a process like that, but again, too, like I was saying earlier, if you have things like that happen early on, you've got a chance to be able to mount a comeback. You don't want something like that happening, especially for a driver that was slated to start up inside of the top five. Now he's only going to have a little less than 50 laps to be able to march his way back up to the front. And we've seen, especially here in the late going, it's not been that easy to work your way up through the field.
No. And yeah, we got 44 to go here. Keith definitely giving the big push to stall Hood, but it's not going to work. The okie dokie has gone into effect. And that is going to leave Clements out to the high side there, but here comes Mercurio, just like you were saying. Now up to fourth in that number 9, and then the fellow Joshua there for Joshua Clements. I keep wanting to say Jeremy Clements. That's going to happen at some point or another.
You know, I've seen a couple of races that Joshua's raced, and I don't think I've ever actually raced with him personally, but I've seen races that other friends of mine have been in and seen him connecting to the server. And yeah, first thing that pops into my mind is, oh wow, Jeremy Clements just joined the chat, just joined the server.
That's true celebrity status right there. Keep an eye on just kind of who all is where now to see who may have a shot. There's Hodge after that slam into the inside wall. Not looking too bad.
No, he hit with the back end of the race car, which, I think I saw the 31 of Collier is out here running without a back bumper. It really honestly doesn't affect you too badly unless you, hit a super amount of impact where the impact will actually reverberate up to the front and give you some front-end damage as well. But I didn't really see anything in the case of the 22 that indicated to me he's going to be off the pace. It will be maybe a little bit difficult for somebody to try and bump draft him, because, how do you bump draft a car that doesn't have a bumper? But I think he is going to still be up to speed here.
As everyone gets down to the inside lane, I think that they're probably just going to try to run this stint out to whenever they plan on pitting.
Yeah, which is when.
When, yeah.
You do it when the fuel window opens up, which would be maybe around lap 165, 170, or do you stretch it as far as you possibly can, which would be, I don't know, maybe lap 180, 185?
Most likely so. I can tell you one thing right now. The two Tylers are going to pit together.
Yes.
There's no doubt about that.
I think Keith might come down with him, too. They've been the fast 3, pretty much.
I wouldn't be surprised at that whatsoever.
He's still clutching. Keith is still clutching to that third spot.
Really?
Yep.
That is interesting. I don't know if he thinks he's actually going to make it or not, but
no,
I think that's wishful
thinking.
He's going to
make it, but bear in mind, we've ended up seeing drivers here under caution come down and take tires. Tyler, I think, for the most part, all of his pit stops, he's taken 4 tires when we've had these long green flag runs. There may be no tires taken on this final pit stop, and so if you can save a drop or 2 more fuel, that means less amount you're going to have to put in the tank, which means less time on pit road, which for the 82 could translate into 1 or 2 positions picked up once the green flag pit stop cycle around.
Got 40 laps to go here. Pit window looking to open up here very soon, should they want it. And I think I see what you're saying. Keith Hughes definitely trying to go aggressive on the strategy, because without going into too much detail, all I'll say is earlier we saw that there was definitely incentive for him to do well.
Yes.
I'll leave it at that. But the two Tylers still pushing and committed to each other. They have been the powerhouse duo since probably lap 50, if I had to take a guess.
Yeah, it actually would be, from about lap 60 onward. These have been the 2 out in front, and right there, across the start finish line, Tyler Mallon has now led the most laps. That was the 56th lap led for the pole sitter, surpassing the 55 laps previously led by Keith Hughes. I didn't think anybody was going to be able to surpass Hughes' most laps led, but I was wrong. Mallon's been able to do it.
And there you have it. But looking a little further back here, got some moves there for the 425 and the 283. And Jeff Prochask has lost that main draft. Golly, what a difference just a little blip of the throttle can do.
And we saw him upside down barrel rolling, so more than likely some roof damage. He ended up getting a shot from I remember who it was. I think it might have been the 25 of Ken Squires into the passenger side doors. So I'm certain he's got some aero damage now. And yeah, that is such a tough break for a driver that was up there. Was he third or fourth? I think for that upcoming
I
restart. Had
think it
been
was
up
going to be
inside of the
fourth.
top three for a good portion of the second half of this race, and boy, it all just went south in a real hurry. No fault of his own again, too. A freak mechanical problem with the sim rig.
Yeah, yeah. If that was indeed what caused that, that's something different, and that's what I was also getting at. Just like how that will mess with you mentally. Just like, oh shoot, what if this happens again when I try
Hmm.
to pit?
That's something I was actually going to bring up, but I didn't want to jinx it with talking about green flag pit stops under that last run. But I mentioned I wondered if these drivers had practiced green flag pit stops under the practice and happy hour sessions. Even if they did, that was 165 laps ago. That was about 3 hours ago. I mean, do they remember what they did when they came to pit road to test those pit stops at this point in time?
Oh, shimmy from Keith. Man, that's gonna also kind of get the nerves going.
Been side to side in a little bit here ever since we went back green, so hopefully that settles out. I mean, we know what ended up happening to a fellow Honda and Tristan Grace when he was dealing with the connection problems. Looks like that's actually settled out for Tristan. He's back in the ninth position and has looked pretty steady here since we've gone back green, so good news for him.
Looking good so far. Yeah, that another case of a caution saving some guys, including the 98, the 80, the 86, and the 283. Those are the four that I can see here that are now going to be in pretty good shape.
Or of Tate Dorsey as
Should they
well, I
be able to
think.
keep it up here? But yeah, you're absolutely right. He and Ken Squires have gotten up here. Blake Horn's still trying to make those moves, as he's been doing pretty much all night long. And now we're at 35 to go. It is open. Should you want to pitch and trying to get that shorter pit stop, but then you might also get in trouble. Should you end up falling a lot down because you don't have as many guys around you. I don't know. The general trend of every league that I've ever raced in is to just run it out to maybe like 3 or 4 laps short of your window. That's generally what I see, and I predict that we will see something similar.
Here's the thing for me, and I was thinking about this scenario before we even came on the air, wondering if we were going to end up seeing passing be a thing later in this race. We pretty much established right now everybody's running single file. We have a couple of drivers that jump up there to the top side, but no top side has really been established here in the second half of this race. In my opinion, if you're like 7th, 8th, ninth place on back, I think you go with the strategy of coming to pit road when the fuel window is open. Why? You're not going to win the race otherwise. I don't think you're going to be able to formulate a pack quickly enough before the pit stops take place for the leaders, and then things are going to get spread out after that green flag pit stop anyway. I think what you do is you wait till that fuel window's open, you come to pit road now, you take on the fuel, you have at least a decent enough group to come out with you, you keep yourself on the lead lap, and maybe catch a caution at just the right time. If you catch that yellow still on the lead lap, the leaders have to come to pit road, you get to go by them, and then you're out in front with a few laps remaining in the race.
I like the call. I think that anyone probably behind the 97 on back, I think that would be the best call to make. I think anyone in this top 5, especially since they're the ones that are all right on top of each other, they're probably going to be the ones that think, all right, when am I going to be able to pit with these guys? Because I'm sure that they're not going to be super open to communication because, if you got strong cars around you, you want to try to get them out of the picture, right?
Yeah, right now for me, looking back to maybe the 84, these are drivers that have an opportunity to take advantage of Tyler Mallon on the braking coming to pit road to pick up those spots. Obviously there's pit road mistakes from the entrance to pit road to the exit of pit road, how well you get out of your pit box, all that kind of stuff, but I think that's the area where they're going to be focused on most to try and make the pass on the 18. To your point, I think that I would even include the 97 on back. These are drivers that you're going to be boxed in. you're going to have 5 drivers ahead of you. That means there's potentially 5 lanes that are going to be blockaded up for you to come to pit lane. You're not going to have the option of trying to outbrake them. So, yeah, I think for sure those drivers right now, they have to start considering coming to pit road, make that final pit stop now, because that's going to be the only shot they're going to have of getting up here to the front.
And also remember, there's no assist, so if any of these guys are used to having anti-lock brakes,
Oh boy,
they ain't gonna have it, and that could get a little dicey. And yeah, like you said, we have gone 3 hours without any real hard braking of that sort. So 30 laps to go here. No takers as of yet. Greg Irwin has actually pitted himself.
here's another thing, and you just brought this up and it made me think of it. If we end up having an incident coming to pit lane, especially up at the front, a caution more than likely won't come out, unless a car spins back up across the double yellow line onto the racing surface. But if it's down on the apron coming to pit road, there more than likely will not be a yellow flag. So it could be bedlam, depending on how many drivers we have come to pit road, how big a pack of cars we have come to pit road for that potential final pit stop.
And I think there could even be potential for bedlam on pit road itself, because I just also remembered this, that one of the first main rounds of pit stops that we had, I just remembered, I think that Tyler Mallon actually got spun on pit road.
Yeah,
I don't remember if it was him or who it was.
Number 1 pit stall,
but if you guys did,
I believe that you'd have that wheel spin in first gear off of pit road in the number 1 stall. So yeah, that, and we don't have a wall separating pit road from the racetrack, so it is a little, I'll put spacious in air quotes, the pit lane here at Daytona, but it also is quite narrow when you're coming down pit lane double wide, and you've got cars that are trying to merge back out here pit stalls. So yeah, even after they cross that commitment line, a race could be won or lost.
This is going to be something to behold as this thing winds down. We are within the final 30 laps, 28 to go officially. 20th anniversary of NR2003 special event presented by ISRL. We have been at this for a good 3 hours now, and it has been a pretty darn good show throughout. I have actually been really enjoying this. Seth, I'm going to take this opportunity to thank you massively for joining me. This has been a true delight, and I think it's just going to get better as these final few laps play out.
I was excited coming into this thing, and just seeing the different things these drivers were going to have to battle with for 200 laps. It's just given me more of an appreciation for what they've been able to do here tonight. So the excitement has not in any way been quenched, and I'm excited to see what happens here in this final run. We talked about the tale of the Tylers. Let me just kind of put another bee in your bonnet here. The drivers locked themselves in to this race. The criteria was that if you locked yourself in, then tonight, during qualifying, you got to determine where you started in the field. Tyler Mallon started this race from the pole position. By consequence, he gets the number 1 pit stall. But Tyler Stallhood did not lay down a lap time, so he rolled off the grid in 33rd. That means he's going to have a pit stall up towards the end, the front end of pit road. And that's going to be a little bit more difficult for Stallhood, because he's going to have to get that thing woed down a lot quicker. He's going to have to make sure that he is maintaining pit road speed a lot longer, exiting his pit stall. So, to be honest, if I'm looking right now at the two Tylers, Stallhood is going to be the one that's going to have the most pressure on him.
That's true, yeah. I think, to answer your question there, Matt, in the chat, we've got 26 laps to go. You should see a little cutout in the overlay graphic on the left, bottom left side, where you should see like 175 and 200. Hopefully that's coming through on the stream there. It's very tiny.
Yep, it's there.
But
I mean, it's the second 0 and 200 is slightly cut off. So does that mean we're running 199 and 3/4 laps?
That would be interesting if the start finish line was actually in the middle of 3 and 4.
Pretty sure that was a place in Harry Potter World Platform 199 and 3/4.
I need to see those. I need to actually sit down and watch those movies someday or another.
I actually just watched them all through again about a week ago. I've lost count of how many times I've watched them.
I'm going down the anime rabbit hole, which
Ah,
who knows how that is. Um, but enough of me sounding like a weeb. Um, let's we got 25 laps to go here. Who's gonna be the first takers?
oh boy.
Still
They fake
nobody.
me out. Because of the steering input and them getting down on the apron off of 4, every single time I start to sit up and go, ooh, they might be pitting. Nope, it's just the steering input having them really low off the corner.
I was wondering if the 86 was about to there.
That's who I was looking at too.
I'm also wondering if maybe they're 97. Ooh, good save. I'm starting to wonder if maybe they're setting themselves up for it here. And Seth, you're also going to have the advantage because you have access to the NR chat, and you know
I'm
that
keeping an eye on it, believe me. I'm waiting for those radios to light up.
so once that thing lights up, you know that I'm willing to bet that probably if one guy does, you're going to get a good majority that follows suit. It's just going to be a matter of who makes the first call.
I think it's going to have to be that 18, right? I mean, he's been out in front this run. He's been using the most fuel. He's going to absolutely have to be one of the first, if not the first, on pit road. So he's been the Pied Piper on the racetrack. I think the same's going to be said for when this pit stop takes place.
I mean, that's true. But then that also begs the question to where you were saying if you're one of the guys further back trying to short pit there to gain that advantage and maybe just bringing like 2-3 guys with you to try and get the extra push there. But then if you make the call and no one goes with you, then you almost don't have a choice but to abort.
It's a question of how long do you wait. I mean, the fuel window's already open to make it the rest of the way. We know this, but maybe even coming to pit road 2 or 3 laps sooner than the race leaders, that could work out to your benefit because, that's less laps for them to be able to try and reel you down and put you a lap down as well. So,
Exactly.
well, I don't know. The mind games are starting to happen here, and I'm certain these drivers are already physically and mentally fatigued. Now they're in for the biggest pit stop of the night.
Yep, the money stop. It's coming. And at the latest, it's going to probably come here in about 8-10 laps maximum. If I had to place a wager on the pit number, and Mercurio just faked me out there too. Man, this is going to be something to behold. 21 laps to go. It has been a long one. And these guys, like you said, they have to be exhausted. And yet they are now in the point where they are going to need every bit of their focus and skill to try to make this happen, to not only get on pit road safely, but then also, once they come back out, get formed up so that you can try to make a move.
98 out of shape there on the backstretch. Tucked back in line.
Ooh, the nerves are hitting. Probably for everybody.
I don't understand this. Why is it whenever I'm in the broadcast booth, I'm more nervous for the drivers up here than when I'm down there in a car? When I'm down there in a car, I mean, it's just like, there's a little bit of nervousness, a little bit of apprehension, but not nearly to the scale of when I'm up in the booth. I'm scared to death for these drivers right now.
I think it's because you're actually getting to see everybody and like what they're doing, whereas when it's you racing, you're just kind of like, all right, I just need
Your
to
own little box down there.
Yeah, protect my box. This is my box and I need to protect it.
This is my shield bubble.
Exactly. So you're more worried about that, but in this case, when you're up here, you're more worried about just making sure that everyone just keeps it okay. We're at 20 to go here. Anybody? Nope.
Ooh, that time I almost thought they might come down pit road. Here's the thing, too. I don't know if there is necessarily a rule where you have to post that you're coming to pit lane. I've seen certain leagues where drivers, they'll come to pit road with communication amongst themselves, but they don't let the rest of the field know to be able to have that element of surprise. So, I'm still keeping an eye, waiting to see if the radios light up, but every time that 18 comes off of turn 4, I almost wonder if maybe he and the 7 and the 82, they've all talked about we're pitting this lap. Let's not let the rest of the field know so that way they can't take the strategy and come down with us and maybe take us out of the running of winning this thing.
And just to throw one more wrench into this equation, I also just remember that I've noticed that the pit lane speed limit is 70, not 55. So they might be able to brake later than normal anyway. So even if they don't call it, they probably won't need to because they'll be able to hit the brakes later when they're already below the yellow line. but that could also make for some very sketchy actual pit entries.
And I've not tested the waters of this particular track. This is the 2022 version of Daytona. There are a number of drivers that adapt the strategy known as hot pitting, which is where you come into pit road at a higher rate of speed than pit lane actually indicates, but as long as you're on the brakes and then let off the brakes at the pit road speed, it actually will not penalize you. It evens out. So with that extra, 15 miles per hour added on to the pit road speed limit here, yeah, that might make the hot pitting option a little bit more palatable for some of these drivers that like to do that.
But also possibly a little more scary.
Yeah, that's true.
So, we got 16 laps to go here. Seth, I think they can't go much further at this point.
That's the thing. I love how we're questioning on when they're going to have to pit because we haven't gotten a firm fuel number, have we? We've not been able to see just how far these drivers can go on a tank. So they've got the numbers in front of them of projected laps remaining. We're only left up here with a big question mark of just exactly when is it that they're going to have to make that dive.
And the fact that Keith Hughes keeps clutching, right, has completely thrown me off. As they catch the 22 again. 16 to go. No takers yet. The only driver that I've seen down pit road has been Craig Irwin. Not sure about some of these other guys in this little 4-car secondary pack, which actually they're catching up to now. They're within a straightaway.
Yeah, I don't think any of those other drivers have been to pit lane. Bren Ware, Jeff Perchetsky, I think that they've just been kind of riding it out with their damaged race cars. To your point, in danger of going a lap down here. Got a couple lap machines intermingled there with Steve Rada and 12 of Hashi Baroku. I mean, I know this is not the night that Steve Rada wanted to have. Early issues with his wheel in the early going, fell multiple laps down. I think he was 5 laps down. He's right now running 3 laps down, but he's in the 18th position. If he had DNF'd right then and there when he had his problem, he would have finished back in 32nd. So again, not the finish he's going to want to have here tonight, but it's a net gain of about 13, 14 spots than where he would have finished if he had called it an early night.
That's why I keep at it. Just have some fun, although it does look like he's going to owe Joseph lunch at this point.
I think you're right.
I have not forgotten about that story.
Chat where they were actually discussing the location of where that lunch was going to take place at.
Oh my gosh, we're 14 to go now.
I'm not sure what Ichiban is. I don't know if that's a restaurant or if that's a type of food, but that's what I was hearing pandered around there as a possibility.
I actually know what that is, and it is a oh crap, what's the actual term for it? It's a Japanese restaurant where they make the food in front of you.
Oh, the sushi bar.
No, I can't remember the term. There's a proper term for it. Hibachi grill, I think.
Ah, there you go. Hey, we got ourselves someone in the chat here that's giving us a little indication. The 283 Blake Warren is at 5 laps left. That's right. A number of drivers are actually live streaming their POVs here tonight. Blake Warren, one of those. Charlie Fibrosis over on Twitch. So yeah, little stream sniping here. Care to see if Garland Oaks to let us know when these drivers are going to have to start to make that pit stop. So
thank you, Garland.
190 maybe, 191, somewhere in that vicinity. We see them come to pit road. 10 laps to go.
That would be my best guess at this point. And it is hibachi. Okay, yeah, that's what I thought. Oh my god, I'm getting nervous. Now the adrenaline's starting to hit me.
Oh boy, I've not yet seen any indication on the radio of drivers pitting.
We have gone this far into this race. It has been such a ride so far, and it is going to come down to this last money stop.
This is why you survive for 190 laps, because more often than not, these super speedway races are determined in the final 5 to 15 laps, and 7, 18, they've indicated they're pitting this next time by.
Oh, baby.
Here we go. The 9's coming in. The 86 is coming in.
Do the Tylers stay out? Do they forfeit and come in?
No, they're coming in. They're coming in. They were the first 2 to light up after they crossed the start-finish line, Mallon and Stallhood.
Oh, 18-7. Okay, I thought I misheard you there. Sorry.
Keith Hughes is lit up. He's coming in. The 84 of Clements is coming in. We got pretty much this entire front pack.
It's everybody.
Indicating they're coming in.
It's everybody. Oh, and the lap cars are coming in, too.
Oh, and you got the pack ahead of them, too. Oh, there goes the 97 around. He put the 24. The 24 is back on the racetrack. We got the 0 barrel rolling at the entrance of pit road. We are still green.
No yellow flag. Has the 24 gotten off the track? He has.
He's gone up the track, but there was no oncoming traffic. Everybody else was coming to pit lane. He's gotten it right and continued on, so we still stay under the green flag.
So now it's just going to be a matter of who is going to get the better pit stop.
Heath
Malin
is down
sat
in the
there
way.
way longer.
Dorsey came out second, I think.
Hughes is going to have the lead ahead of Dorsey, and then a lap car. And then Malin, Mercurio. Oh, I think those front two are actually going to be sitting ducks.
Oh, Stallhood almost got out of shape. He was trying to pass Mercurio through the apron of 1 and 2 for what I think would have eventually been 5th place, and he almost spun for his troubles.
I think that Stallhood is going to be the last car of these that are going to be able to catch those front two. Because I think that these two are going to be sitting ducks.
Cade Welty, Joshua Clements. And now here comes Samuel Cruz onto pit road. That's a tough break for those drivers. Now here's the question. Did everybody get it back down to pit road speed? Waiting to see if maybe the speeding police end up saying anything here.
The Stallhood just swiped the wall. They're trying to get by the 12.
Desperation time now for anybody that didn't have a clean pit stop. And they're trying to catch the top two.
Yeah, 80 has lost the draft. So the 25, 98, 283, and 86 are going to try to push each other as much as possible to see what they can do. But Keith Hughes, your leader, or will be here in a bit.
I think it's going to be a 2v3 right now. You've got Hughes and Dorsey, and I think you might end up getting a trio lined up of Malin, Mercurio, and Stallhood. And if they can get themselves lined up, they're going to have a heck of a run on the top two here. There's still plenty of time to make a move as well.
That's
9 laps to go that time by.
We've got 9 to go here, and I said, whoa!
Oh, wow.
Keith?
They both went to the apron. What was that?
Jeez. Yeah, I'm not too sure there. And I apologize. In the 24, not Sean. I don't know why I said that. But yeah, he got a couple laps led there, courtesy laps pretty much. But yeah, these two, they aren't even really linked up. So Malin is about to pounce here. I can't remember when blocking is allowed. I think it's only the last lap.
It is the last lap, you're right. Oh, Malin faked out Dorsey, went top, then to the inside, and look at this, gonna cross up to the outside on the right rear quarter panel of Keith Hughes for the top position, and Keith's got drafting help about a car length back. That's not gonna help. Malin clears.
Oh, jeez, it was barely clear. Now Hughes going to try to get the run here. We got 8 laps to go. Those guys are racing each other pretty hard. So I wouldn't count out the second group yet.
I think the 9's just a little bit off the pace. He can't really lead a line, but he can maybe push.
Oh
my gosh!
This is too soon for this, guys.
That's not pushing. That's shoving.
That was every bit that you could get out of it.
Oh my gosh! Are these guys trying to throw away a win? I mean, right now these 4 could settle it out. They're the fastest cars on the track, but if they all wreck, that opens the door for 5th place on back.
Oh, you're not kidding. I think that Mercurio is just trying to keep with them at the moment. Ken Squires, they're going to try to run him down.
So how many laps did we run under pacing normally here with lap cars? About 3 or 4, right?
I think so.
So we've got a chance here in the next 2 laps, I'd say, maybe the next 3, where the race could end under yellow. We could be getting to that proverbial point of no return, and I believe we are now at the point as well where any caution would be raced back.
So now these guys are formed up. Actually, I think that Mercurio is probably going to lose him.
Yeah, I think he's a little off the pace. He's done a great job hanging up in that lead group, but now these 4 have just a little too much speed, and I don't think any of them really have damage. The 9 does, so they're going to pull away.
Now it's going to come down to these 4, because they are also starting to pull away from that second group now that they're formed. Well, kind of. I see just that little bit of an indication that Keith is going to give it a try. We have come down to lap 195, come to 196 of 200. 3.5 hours later. I mean, this is what a real 500 is like, but man, in a sim racing sense, it is so different.
Going to be a Toyota? Is it going to be a Honda? Is it going to be a Ford? Or is it going to be a Subaru to win this race? Or will it be a Chevy? I mean, Mercurio may be running back there all by himself in 5th, but there's no, there's no, what's the question? What's the word I'm looking for? I just blanked out. 196 laps, and now I've lost the word I was trying to think of. There's still, okay, I'm not even going to try and search for the word. I'm going to say it another way. There's still a possibility that the top quartet here could end up getting involved in a wreck, and he could sneak right on by.
There is a chance, and just Stinger, I think that is actually something I should probably try to look into. It's just a matter of pulling it off, but I'll definitely look into that. We're coming to 4 laps to go here, and yeah, we are definitely at the point of caution ends it.
For sure. But now, if Hughes steps out, does Tate Dorsey go with him? I'm pretty certain that Stallhood, he would pick up Tyler Mallon. Those two have been working together all night long.
More likely than not, I would agree with that.
Ooh, Stallhood, look at this. He's going up there trying to, I think he's trying to pick up that 84. If Joshua Clemens, try and maybe get him latched on with this group.
Maybe try to give him a little bit of a run here.
Have the 84 be an X factor? An extra drafting buddy here in the closing stages?
Maybe. I think he's a little too far back. And yeah, that second pack is all completely steamrolled Mercurio. So that's pretty much going to be that.
Ken Squires, great run there in that 5th position now, getting that spot away from Mercurio. He's kept his nose pretty clean here tonight, had a couple near misses in the early going of this race.
Seth, we are at 3 to go after 200 laps. This is going to be something to behold, even though it's only 4 guys. I have a funny feeling that they are going to go nuts.
Yeah, it's a non-points race, so the aggressive level in terms of making a move, blocking, it's going to ramp up even more than if this was a normal points-paying league race. And the big question in my mind right now is, if you're Keith Hughes, how long do you wait? Do you wait until the last lap? Do you try and make a move, test the waters here, come to 2 to go? I mean, he keeps showing the nose as if he wants to. Yeah, he keeps. Oh, there you go. Yeah, he keeps showing the nose as if he wants to see if the 4 will go with him. Dorsey's not shown any indication to me as of yet that he's willing to push the 82, but we'll see about down the backstretch here.
Well, let's see. Hughes backed out off there a little bit. Gonna look.
There he goes.
Dorsey goes with him, and so does Stallhood.
Oh, but is he going to jump back down to the bottom of Stallhood? He's staying up there. Hughes is clear.
3 on 1. Hughes with the lead. We got the white flag here in the 20th anniversary NR 2003 special event.
And suddenly Mallon goes from the lead back to 4th. And Stallhood's looking now on the top of Dorsey for 2nd. Keith Hughes loves to see that double wide in his rearview mirror.
Trying kind of the same thing that he did with Joshua Clemens. Cuts back and down in front of Mallon.
The big gap there from the 82 back to the 4. Dorsey, if he can get a shove from Stallhood. Oh, Stallhood.
Stallhood does not want to do it.
Oh, look at Mallon.
Oh, this is going to be a huge shove. Big block.
Where does Stallhood go? Does he jump to the bottom here going into 3? Does he stay up top?
Mallon's not clear. They're going to turn. Oh, gosh.
Big save by Hughes.
That may have just won him this thing.
Stallhood may have another shot here if Mallon can push him off of 4.
Getting the shove here. Coming to the checkered. Block.
Hughes jumps up.
And it's Hughes.
And he made that bumper about 3 cars wide.
What a block. And he sends it into the tires.
What a block, what a save going into 3. I almost thought we were going to have the Penske teammates wreck and Michael McDowell go by for the win scenario, because make that Stallhood, he was all in the left rear quarter panel of Keith Hughes going into that 3rd corner.
Oh, you are not kidding. I thought that Hughes was just going to be like, nope, I'm taking this, but they kept it straight. Stallhood kept it where he needed to, or excuse me, Dorsey, goodness. And holy cow. That I think for a 4-car finish, that is about everything that you could have asked for.
And the best thing about it, too, all 4 cars crossed the start-finish line pointed in the right direction. Like, they mixed it up, they beat it, they banged, but nobody wrecked on that final lap.
Everyone kept it where they needed to. And man, That was a long one, but
And
honestly,
yeah,
that
now
flew
everybody can
by.
take a sigh of relief. They can stretch.
A lot of Keith Hughes fans in chat there. Really happy to see that one. And a lot of happy drivers there. See him win it.
Mondays of Thunder representative here in the field. Led 59 laps here tonight, but led that most important one, and I got to do that burnout in the infield grass.
Little boink there to Jeff.
He made the move with 2 to go, and then used that final lap to play defense. I wondered if maybe he had done it just a little bit too early, but he's a very good super speedway racer. I've run with him in a number of leagues and super speedway races. He knows what he's doing, and well, that might have been one of the best shows of blocking I've seen out of a driver in a long, long time, because there were about 2 or 3 points I thought that he was going to be wrecked.
I agree, and credit to Dorsey for also keeping it clean there. A little shove there from Stallhood, giving him the congratulations. What is with that third win in 2 weeks? Hey,
No,
he's getting it done.
third win in a week. I mean, Sunday to Saturday.
Very true. Go ahead and relive that last lap here. They went past Greg Irwin. Stallhood slides in front of his fellow Tyler. And then, yeah, this is where Dorsey had a big run coming. Wait for the signs to get out of the way there. And then, big run then from Stallhood. It was Stallhood that made the move on him. Oh my gosh. I lost track as to who was where. And right there, you just knew that if that could have ended very, very badly.
I mean, the hitboxes on these next-gen cars, I think a lot of drivers, myself included, are still trying to get used to. And 9 times out of 10, doesn't matter what mod you're in, you've got somebody's right front into your left rear, you're going around. The fact that it only shot him up the racetrack is amazing. And to be honest, I'm going to give a little bit of a shout out here. I believe the 7 of Tyler Stallhood backed out to let Keith Hughes gather that thing back up. He could have kept his foot in the throttle. He had the run. He was to the inside. He could have kept his foot in the throttle. But I think he actually backed out of that to allow the 82 to gather it back up. And that's why Hughes was able to stay in the race lead. So, you know, that could have very easily been a bit of a dump and run here at Daytona. But Stallhood, the smart racer that he is, he realized the situation. He didn't want it to go down like that, and but credit to him on that. Yeah, I'm watching it back. He definitely did back out of the throttle there to allow him to gather it back up.
Yeah, I feel like, yeah, if he had kept that run, he would have definitely taken the lead. But it was going to be either that or them all getting wrecked. So credit to Stallhood, credit to Mallon, credit to Dorsey, credit to all 4 of those guys. What a great showing that was. So we'll have a quick look here at the final standings of this monster race. Keith Hughes the winner, Tyler Stallhood, Tyler Mallon, Tate Dorsey, all under a blanket, finishing in the top 4. Ken Squires, as you were mentioning, will finish in P5.
Amazing.
Great showing there. Like Warren in 6th, fantastic job as well after falling out and falling a lap down at one point.
Tremendous comeback for sure.
Joseph Landy Pavlon going to get a free lunch, finishing 7th. Rose Henson, great 8th place there. Nicely done. Josh Mercurio going to end up in 9th for the 9 car. And despite all kinds of warp issues, the 98 Tristan Grace will finish with a top 10. Last car in the lead lap would have been the 407, finishing 11th. 97, 84, 5, and 24 with the rest of the top 15. We officially had 20 cars finish the race. And then everyone below that all retired or disconnected. Man, 200 laps.
I think the big stat that kind of jumps out at me: 200 laps. We only ran 41 of those laps under caution, 11 yellows for 41 laps for a 200 lapper. That's amazing.
That's pretty darn good. And
That is good.
most of those were in the first half. I think that second half probably would have only had what, like maybe 3 of those?
And really, if you think about it too, at least three jump to mind. There may have been a couple of more. They were like mechanical things, things out of drivers' control. It wasn't drivers being overly aggressive and making, moves that were going to cause issues.
Yeah, true. Very
So
true.
theoretically, we're probably looking at about maybe 7 or 8 cautions that were caused by a driver, not something mechanical. So the number even goes down there. 8 cautions for I don't know what the number total of laps is in 200 laps. I mean that's pretty doggone good.
That was fantastic. Brilliant stuff. What do you say we chat with some of these guys here? Just before we wrap it up, we'll go down the top 3 order here. We'll start with the Melon Boy. Tyler Mallon led the most laps, if I'm not mistaken.
It indeed. 90 in total here tonight with the
Holy
third
cow.
place finisher.
Man, almost half of
User
them.
was moved to your
That
channel.
is freaking impressive. And there he is, third place finisher there. Tyler Mallon led the most laps, as I was just talking to Seth about here. But let me just mention to you ran a great race there. Going to end up with a third. How are you feeling aside from exhausted?
All right. It was a fun race. Glad we got some green flag pit stops in at the end. I worked with the other Tyler pretty much the whole race after, I had plans to work with a bunch of certain people, but then they all got murdered 10 laps into the race. So, oh well. So I had to kind of call an audible with Tyler to work with him. So it was fun doing that all race. I think we both were out front for combined over half the race, so that was a lot of fun.
I mean, you alone led 90 laps, almost
pretty
half
cool.
yourself. So that's impressive. That is really impressive. I guess the only other question then would be just kind of what went in the mentality of trying to decide when to pit on that final stop, because me and Seth were playing all kinds of guessing games to try to see when that would be, and yeah, just kind of the mentality behind trying to run it out, or if you should have pitted sooner or anything like that.
Well, if we got a caution after I pitted, then I would have been screwed because I've been a lap down. So that's why I ran it as long as I could because I wanted to see if there would be a caution or not. Obviously, I had to come in when I did, or else I would have ran out. I think Keith saved a bunch of fuel during that last run and came out 2 seconds ahead of us because he took a half a can and everyone else had to take one can, yeah, something like that. So yeah, when he came out a few seconds before or ahead, then I was like, maybe we can catch him. I used the lap traffic to draft up to him though, so that worked pretty well.
Really nicely done. I am going to let you get some rest after that absolute marathon. But before I do, the floor is yours for anything that you would like to close out with.
Good win, Keith. Wish I was able to defend a little harder. Thank you, Greg and Thomas and everyone for putting on the show. It was a lot of fun. Glad we got to do something for the 20th anniversary of everyone's favorite NASCAR game. Yeah, that's it. Interstate Batteries is a great sponsor. There you go.
Hey, perfectly fair. Great job, man. And you take it easy. I hope to be back with you on track here soon.
Thanks.
It is Tyler Mallon. We'll get the next Tyler in here. Mr. Stallhood here. There he is.
User was moved out of your channel.
What above the
User was
racing room?
moved to your channel.
And there is Mr. Stallhood, the second place finisher there. Got the shove of a lifetime going into turn 3 there. Just about. Could have been catastrophic there, but y'all kept it clean. Gonna end up being a second place finish for you. How are you feeling after all that? 200 freaking laps, man. Holy cow.
I'm feeling some body fatigue, yeah. Long race. Totally worth it. I can't believe I came back to second after being involved in that first wreck. But I linked up with Tyler Mallon at probably the halfway point, we both tabbed out of the sim to set up a whisper, and we worked strategy together for the rest of the race, and it really paid off.
It definitely paid off. I was watching you two. Yeah, we kept saying it was the Tyler and Tyler show, and you two dominated for quite a while.
Greg was calling it Tyler squared earlier.
And Seth also said that exact
Yeah, I was
same
gonna say that sounds familiar.
thing. But I guess I'll just also ask in regard to going into turn 3 there. It looked like you've kind of just blipped it just to make sure that y'all didn't wreck it. But I mean, credit to you if that's what happened. But just kind of walk me through going down the back stretch there and into turn 3.
Well, I was starting to make my move with 2 to go. There was a lap car. I think it was Greg. Just trying to get a little bit of pull anywhere I could find it. Trying to make something happen. So sooner rather than later, because I know how it can be in this sim with the truck physics. Kind of need to set up your move a little bit sooner than you think. So I was trying to do some homework there. And then, yeah, like you said, in the last corner, just getting up to Keith, I definitely didn't want to take him out. Wanted to, if nothing else, push him there. Definitely not take him out. If I could make a move on him, I was going to take it. But when you said that I blipped him, yeah, that was me making sure I didn't take him out there.
Hey, that's perfectly fair. We love to see it. Way to keep it clean, man. But still a phenomenal show and second place run. The floor is yours, of course, for any shout outs, advertising, or just closing thoughts.
Yeah, just shout out to the NR community in general. Just sticking it out, making this sim last for 20 years, and many more to come. There's developments every day. Development's still in the works. We just actually released a Subaru template, as you saw, for the latest sim, the latest mod, and that was Subaru's first showing in an official race. So hats off to them. And ISRL for putting this on, and Greg and the guys. This is their third time running this league, and they're doing it right this time. They're making sure everybody's got a fair say. There's no super alliances that drive people away. We're trying to be all inclusive. There's different licenses, making sure everybody's got something they can compete for. There's a strong coaching and development system that's in place, and I'd love to be a part of it.
And we're glad to have you as a part of it, man. Still appreciate you for having me on board for the for that builder race. And I'll just simply say, next time you need a streamer, give me the word.
Absolutely, Andrew. Love having you out here.
And great job, man.
You put on a good show and a very enjoyable broadcast. And I actually haven't seen how many streams you've got, but definitely worth it, and you earned it.
I appreciate it, man. It means a lot. I think Seth carried me for most of this one, but but no, it was a lot of fun. Great job, man. Hope to see you again on track soon.
All right, thank you. Take care.
You too, man.
User left your
That
channel.
leaves one more. Without any further ado,
User was moved to your channel.
the race winner, Keith Hughes, wins a full-length Daytona 500, the 20th anniversary of NR2003, and in nerve-wracking fashion almost there in turn 3, but great job. How are you feeling?
I am tuckered out.
Understandable.
Yeah. It was very near the end of the race, I think with 2 to go, my legs started cramping, and I was like, uh-oh. But I was able to finish with a little bit of adrenaline, I guess.
As long as it was your throttle leg, you're fine. You're just mashing the throttle the final 2 laps anyway.
Yeah. I hope it cramps that way. Not
That's right. Yeah, just not the brake leg.
Yeah. Man, you ran great there. Led a lot of laps early on, and then we're just kind of lurking, but keeping out of trouble. And then came back up at the front there. But great running. I do have one big question for you, though. I noticed you clutching the most out of anyone else, even when it looked like the fuel window was going to just be wherever it may fall. What went into that mentality?
Well, I knew I was kind of stuck in the holding pattern in third. So I was like, okay, I'm not going to go anywhere, so I'll just save fuel. And then near the end of the run, I was talking to some teammates, and I'll mention them in a minute. we were talking, okay, Tyler's going to, Malin's going to get off first on pit road, even if we take the same amount of fuel. The only chance we got to get around him, I think, is half a can. And a couple of the guys agreed to do it. And at the time, I was going to be short, so I didn't think I was going to make it. And our plan was, because we raced for Mondays of Thunder, that was our goal, to get a team win. And Tate Dorsey had saved enough fuel, and because he was running like 10th, I was going to let him draft behind me until I ran out and let him win at the end. But the 7 and the 18 caught up to us before that plan came to fruition, and we kind of had to change our strategy going into the last 2 laps there. So
it all worked out for you at the end of the day. But then I guess last question for you, that battle between you and Stallhood there, coming to the end, he had one heck of a run on you, but you were doing what you had to do. That was a lot of fun. I got his perspective. What was it like on your end?
I knew that they were going to dive low, and I was just watching the mirror. I was trying to play half bumper and waiting for, I saw the slightest move down. And as soon as I saw the slightest move down, I just went for it. And I knew I had a chance of getting wrecked. But at that point, with 1 to go, you just got to go for it, I guess. And it ended up working. I don't know if he checked up or not. If he did, I appreciate it. But I'd have to ask him or see his replay or something. But he was really clean. And like I said, I don't know if he did it, check up or not. I just went and hoped that it was going to stay there.
Well, all I will say, he did say that he did blip it when it looked like you guys were about to get turned. So
then I appreciate that. I didn't know if he did that or not.
But it was still hard racing there. That was a lot of fun to watch. I'll let you get some rest here soon. I'm just going to let you have the floor if you want to send any closing thoughts, shout outs, anything of that sort.
All right. First, I will thank ISRL for hosting this event. It was pretty cool to do this 100% race at Daytona. I thank Mondays of Thunder being my home league, and I like to thank individuals that helped me during the race. Mike Carroll, Tate Dorsey, Jeff Perchaksky, Samuel Cruz, Phobia MK, Cade Welty, Tristan Grace, Aaron. I don't remember Aaron's last name because it just says Aaron. I had Kelly for a while. He was helping me. He had a disconnect and kind of messed up. I have some teammates also here at ISRL, Derek Schauer, Zach Bilson, and James Hodge. So all those guys were a part of this win, and it's just awesome to have this community to race in. This is one of the most fun things to do, and even if I didn't win tonight, I was having fun, and I'm just happy to be in victory lane, I guess. Just thanks everybody for watching, and I guess we'll see you maybe another 20 years. I don't know.
Hopefully so. But no, man, great race. I do have one other word that I want to say to you then, off air, but I'll get to that then. But congratulations. That is huge and well earned. Nicely done. And that was a lot of fun to watch.
Thank you.
So that is Keith Hughes there. Seth, we done did it.
User was moved out
Did
of
a
your channel.
full lengther right there.
Yeah, and I mean, you heard it. Every single one of their voices. These drivers are exhausted.
Oh yeah, big time. I would be lying if I said that I wasn't a little pooped, but honestly, it wasn't as grueling as I thought it was going to be.
I mean, shout out to Coca-Cola. This one can of Coke actually kept me awake and in it for the entirety of this thing. So, yeah, I thought I might need another when we had that halfway break. I considered going and getting another, but no, this saw me through pretty well. One thing I do want to point out here real quickly too, because I said this at the very beginning of the broadcast, and it held true with what we heard out of Keith Hughes here in Victory Lane. Doesn't matter if it's lap 1, doesn't matter if it's lap 199. These drivers are constantly thinking. We already talked about the physical exhaustion. They definitely have to be mentally exhausted as well, because you brought up the question to him, why was he clutching? He was constantly thinking, what can I do differently than the top 2? That was what got him out in front. That was what allowed him to be able to play the defense. So, when people think that it's just going around in circles at a super speedway and turning left, no, it is a constant chess match. You are constantly trying to outthink the other driver, and case in point right here tonight with Hughes in that victory.
Oh yeah, it's never a moment of, yeah, you're always thinking while also reacting to what's around you, and it's, for doing it for that long, I could never imagine being a part of that one. I would have been so shot at that point. I could tell that my voice is just now starting to go. um,
Oh, in that
but
case, let's re-rack them. Do it again.
oh gosh. Hey, your voice is going to have to go through it too, you know.
That's okay. I don't need it tomorrow.
But Seth, I will also send a massive shout out to you. You have no idea how much of a huge help you were for this one. You were a lifesaver, and that was so much fun being able to bounce off of you there. Thank you a million times over. Go subscribe to the Flatout Racing Network and the NNSCRA.
I appreciate it. It was a lot of fun. I was looking forward to it coming in, and I had a blast. I mean, just to see the talent of the drivers out there, get to kind of see the racing styles of drivers that I've never heard of before, see the mixture of the different leagues coming together to be a part of this, and you heard it. You heard the one word from all three of our podium finishers here tonight. They came here tonight to have fun. And that's what the Enter 2003 community is all about. It's an opportunity to be able to get together with friends and everything. I ended up seeing a post on Facebook during our broadcast from a good friend of mine, Dylan Young, and basically said something that actually I didn't even think about. Without this Enter 2003 community, there's a bunch of us that have met up in real life. We've made lifelong friendship bonds just because of this sim and meeting each other on this sim. So it's a whole community. There's a whole bunch of different friendships that have taken place because of it. And yeah, who would have known that that 20 years ago, Papyrus and Sierra Games putting together this thing. The birth of iRacing was a big part because of this. You talked about this is kind of the caterpillar. iRacing was the metamorphosized butterfly. So many different good things came out of this game that was released 20 years ago. And to echo the words of Keith Hughes, here's to the next 20 years.
And hopefully beyond that even. It's healthy and it's thriving. And to everyone that was watching this that does not currently partake in NR online racing, I cannot encourage it more to actually get involved in it. It is so cool, so much fun, and just give it a go. Got all different leagues, shapes, sizes, and skill levels. That'll I'm sure that you'll all find one that meets your niche, as it were.
Absolutely.
So thank you to everyone who has made this community still thrive like it is now. And thank you to everyone who partook tonight. Thank you to everyone who watched. And again, thank you, Seth. Congrats to Keith Hughes on the win. Thank you, of course, ISRL and all of our admins for the work that they put in to make this happen. I am going to leave it at that for now. And in the words of Keith Hughes here and Seth Cole, here is to the next 20 years. Thank you to everybody. Take care. And bye for now.